But how would that work though? If this Venus and Mars are orbiting the sun and the sun is orbiting us at times,
Yeah.
the
Well,
kinematic.
those planets will be closer to the sun, right? And then based on the sun's proximity to us, they would be interior in between the two, and then the other planets would be further away. Although their motions are moving relative to the sun, they would loop out around us.
Wow.
So this is what I've figured out, right? Like all the people that have so much to say about the Neo-tychonics, like they haven't even wrapped their minds around what it is.
Oh,
By the way, I don't even claim it to be true. The point is that it's fundamentally untrue to claim that anything to do with the solar system or the motion of the bodies or anything that you observe in the sky is somehow exclusive evidence that we are actually moving around the sun. That isn't the case.
really?
Well, how does
It just actually isn't the case.
how does
Yeah,
the
well,
sun
actually, you can.
stay the same size throughout the day?
Well,
Hard
it
to explain on
doesn't.
a flat Earth, right?
Oh,
of course it
doesn't.
does.
Oh boy,
No, it
does.
doesn't. Like
From
even
in
in
the
the
day?
globe Earth, it
Right.
changes. It's
No,
just
I
such
shared my
a
screen.
not during the
small
day. Not during
Even
the day.
in the globe Earth, it changes.
Well, hold on a second. That's
How
fine.
much?
Yeah,
How much
I'm
does it
showing.
change? How much
Hold on
does
a
it change over a
second.
day?
I'm
0.08 arc seconds or something like that.
Yeah, that's fine. Jump onto my live for a sec. 682 pixels at the moment. This was a video originally shown by Red's Rhetoric. I took his video. I found the best circle of every image in every single frame of his video. It's about a 5-minute video, and
Okay, well,
I
this
drew that
doesn't
circle.
doesn't rebut what I'm saying. In the globe model,
it
first of all,
does.
if
You
you're
said that.
claiming that
Well,
this,
hold on a second.
you're claiming
What-
that this video proves the sun doesn't change size throughout
Yeah,
the
do
day,
you mind
and
if I
you're
finish
claiming
my
it
presentation?
debunks the globe. You're claiming that it debunks the globe model. I'm watching it. You're claiming it
no,
debunks the
I'm
globe
claiming
model.
that it debunks that you refuting that it doesn't change size throughout the day, right?
No, the globe
So-
model claims it changes size.
By a very, very, very immeasurable amount, right?
Okay. So we don't have the measurements that it changes the amount that it needs to, which is a
Well,
geometric
it certainly
requirement.
doesn't change by any pixels. So we know that for sure. There's 684 pixels throughout the day. I'm dragging it across. It started at 7:30 in the morning. Right now we're at almost 5 p.m., 682, 684 flickering, right? The only time that we notice it changing is right here when it's expected to change on the globe model. And we know why that occurs, Austin. It's because of atmospheric refraction. It only changes vertically. Notice
That's
the
clean.
horizontal doesn't change, right? And that's predicted by the globe.
Well,
But-
that would happen. That would also happen if it was setting optically into the more dense, turbulent part of the atmosphere, right? But this is what's funny. What does this have? Well, again, like I said, immediately someone's just going to randomly, almost like Tourette's, just start arguing against flat Earth, and that's
Well,
fine.
I said that the sun doesn't change size throughout the day. You specifically says, and I quote, it does, right?
I said
So
even in the globe model, it's claimed that it does. That's what I said.
It doesn't.
Well,
So
it doesn't.
you were so ready to, you were so ready.
The globe model
And
doesn't
the
claim
only
it,
argument
and
I've made about this, even historically, is that like the videos that people use to supposedly disprove it, if you actually show the pixels, like the one from Wolfie or whatever back in the day, his own video objectively did change pixels, right? So if you're saying that this one is better quality, whatever, that's interesting, cool. I mean, it doesn't look like it changed. I see what you're saying, and I look at it. It doesn't matter at all to me. It doesn't matter at all to me.
Well, it should, because it debunks
Why?
what you said, right? Well, you said that it changes throughout
How
the
does
day.
it debunk what I said?
It doesn't
You said
change
that it
size.
changes throughout the day.
No. I said even the globe model claims that it does.
Well, it doesn't, though.
So okay, so the globe model isn't true. That's interesting.
Well,
So
what does the
now
globe model
only
say it
Don't
changes by?
claim about the
How
globe
many
model.
pixels? Hold on.
Oh, so you
How many
just said the
pixels should
globe.
it change? How many pixels should it change?
So now we're not talking about if it technically changes. We're talking about only pixels.
Well, yeah, obviously, fucking Austin, it changes, right? But it's virtually.
And how do you know?
It's
Wait, first of all, it
virtually
isn't obvious. You
immeasurable.
don't get
92 million
reason.
miles. Just do
It
the
isn't
math, bro.
obvious. First of all, it isn't obvious, or
It's
you would be
obvious
able
for
to
any model in the world, right?
Time out. It isn't obvious that the sun changes the exact amount the globe predicts, or you'd be able to show me an actual physical or actual
I'm showing you
measurement.
that it does change the size that the globe predicts.
He's doing that.
It
No,
does
he's
change the
not.
size. The globe does
Okay,
not.
do you guys not
the-
know? Wait, time out. Do you guys not know how it works?
Listen,
No, you don't know how it
it
works,
does
apparently.
change the amount the globe predicts, which is virtually immeasurable, bro. Look on the screen.
Oh, so you
Virtually
know it
immeasurable.
changes, but it's immeasurable.
Yeah, 92 million miles. Do the math. It's not
Okay,
going
so
to change.
you don't have a measurement of it changing the exact amount
Look, you can-
required, right?
You
So-
can
so
can
this is the
stick on
problem.
this,
There's
but the main.
technology
Hold on a second.
exists that
Hold
you
on a
should be able to
second.
measure it.
That's fine, but the bigger point is, why doesn't it change if the flat Earth requires that
Okay,
it
see that? There you
changes?
go. Shift the burden of proof. So first of all, and you're going to interrupt me because obviously this is like your
I won't
thing right now.
interrupt you. Go ahead. I want to hear you.
This is the first time you've been interrupting me all of a sudden, right? So obviously this is like your thing, and it looks pretty cool, whatever. But
the one violence is
the point I made is that that cool story. The point I made is that the globe predicts that it does change, right? For starters,
No, it doesn't.
and there's no one's ever. It literally does. We just established it, and as soon as I press you guys on it, then you change it from. Stop interrupting me, man. Stop interrupting, man. You change it from it doesn't change to well, it's just not a lot. It's like, okay, cool. That isn't my point. It's a geometric requirement. It's basic geometry. If the sun is listen, dude, if the sun is rising and setting on a globe, right? Obviously, it's going to change size as it goes up from the horizon up to the apex, right? And then back down. It's actually going to gradually change size up into noon and then gradually change size again going back. So you don't understand basic geometry.
No, but wait a minute, hold on. That's like six. What difference does that make? How much difference is 6,000 miles over? How much difference is 6,000 miles over 93 million miles?
It's 0.08 arc seconds, I believe. So my point is, we have
0.08 arc seconds.
Yeah, we have technology that can measure that.
Excuse me. An arc second is 1/60th of a degree. So 0.8 of an arc second is what one. You think you can measure that?
We have technology that can measure that, yes. But this is the point that I'm making, right? It's like
You own
I
that
think the sun is
technology?
just an apparent. We see an apparent position, right? Like it not changing doesn't mean something crazy to me, right? Like I know you guys really think that because it's like you guys still argue 2015 flat Earth, where it's like, oh, sun's physical object, and therefore if I strawman the flat earthers, it
Have you
should
ever gotten a
change
sunburn,
so
Austin?
much, and then here's my straw man if I use a model and I use a distance to the sun and I say, look, it should change this one. That is so, it's like 2015. I don't do that.
Have you ever gotten a sunburn,
To me,
Austin?
that's so retarded.
You lived in Florida for years, right?
He's as white as me, and he doesn't wear.
You've gotten a sunburn.
Let's not do that, please. Focus on the argument, not the person.
This is the argument, right? The argument is this: Have you ever gotten a sunburn, Austin?
Yeah, of course, man.
Yeah, of course, right? So, like, how are we going to sit here? Like, let's be reasonable adults, right? How are we going to sit here, Austin, and say that the fucking sun isn't physical when we've gotten a sunburn? Like, give me a break.
Oh my God, you can't be serious.
Get into it.
Your actual argument. Okay, man. I mean, what is it that actually gives you a sunburn?
The radiation from the goddamn sun.
So wait, what is physically interacting with your skin and giving you a sunburn?
Rays from the sun.
Okay, so it's not the physicality of the sun, right? So Goku didn't jump up there and grab the sun and start chunking it down at everybody, and it's hitting them like little paintballs. And
what's your argument? See, I don't understand what your argument is.
It's the interaction of your skin with the light. Okay, so
the light that comes from where?
Wait, time out. Whether or not we see you guys are panicking.
Slow down.
Whether or not you see the actual physical location of the sun is entirely independent of the idea of sunburn, which is an interaction of your skin with the light. It has nothing to do. First of all, I didn't say the sun wasn't physical. What I said was that we see an apparent position, but the point is that has nothing to do with sunburn, man.
Does the light have an origin?
Yeah.
Yeah. And where's that origin?
Well, that's the question, right? Because if we only see the apparent position, that doesn't mean there isn't an actual position. It just means we're only seeing it in an apparent position. And it's funny that you guys obsessively masturbate over the idea of refraction, but then suddenly, selectively seem incapable of comprehending the simplicity of the idea, right? It's
there's refraction at noon? When the sun's coming straight down through the atmosphere, there's going to be a refraction?
Yeah, if the sun was going through layers, if there were layers of... Why do you ask a question and immediately interrupt?
Just let him answer, Shill.
Okay. If there were some type of layers of containment, right, it isn't just the air itself that's causing it to refract. So it wouldn't matter if it's directly above you or not.
Well, the way optics work is if you're coming directly down through the medium, there's going to be minimal to basically zero refraction.
Even through like multiple physical crystalline structures?
Where are they? You have samples of these?
Well, see, so this is my point, right? Like, you immediately shift it to I need to make definitive claims about things,
examples?
And I don't. What examples of objects being optically displaced through physical mediums?
Sample of the crystal dome. Sample the dome. The crystalline structure that you say there. Not an example. A sample.
Oh no, I don't. No. I
You ever
don't.
touched it? Do you have any measurements
Do
of
you
it?
have
How
a
far away it
sam?
is?
Do you have
What
an?
it's made
Do
of?
you have a sample of the inflatons from the Big Bang?
Inflatons. Will you just make that up?
No, no, no. That's a real fairy tale pseudoscientific particle in your paradigm. That's required because it
Um,
had to. It had. The
that's
point is, I brought it up because obviously the answer you have to say is no. They supposedly don't even exist anymore. That's how retarded your religion is. That there was an inflation at the beginning
so
of the Big Bang,
so
and that those
we're
particles don't
changing from
exist
the Big
anymore.
Bang. We're changing from sunburns to
Do
the
you
Big
not understand
Bang.
the relevance?
Excellent. Yeah, we're changing from sunburns. I asked you if you
Did
have a
you?
sample of the dome, a measurement of the dome,
And I
and
answered you. I
anything of
said
the dome, and you
no.
answered me with
No,
the
I didn't answer
input.
you with a question. I answered you. I said no, and then I asked you a question.
I see. So then we changed to the Big Bang once you realize that there's no dome.
No, no, no,
Got
no,
it.
no, no, no. Okay, so again, you just made the conclusion there is no dome because I don't have a sample of it. That's
Oh,
your standard,
you have no
right?
sample of it.
Do you have a
No
sample of the
sample of it.
core?
No
Do you have a
measurement of it.
sample of the core?
We have measurement of the core.
Okay,
We know
so
the core.
if you don't have a sample of it, then there is no core, according to you. So we can move on now. Good to know.
In the meantime, though, this dome that you always tend to come up with, you've never seen it, never measured it, have no example of it. You just posit that it's
Well,
there.
you've never seen the core.
Oh, we know what the core is there with the seismic waves going through the Earth and coming out the other side. I know, laugh all you
All
want,
right,
but it's
brother.
definitely there.
All
Yeah,
right, brother. So what you're basically admitting, which is what all Globers do, is that you have a double standard for your beliefs. And this is like
I
what
have
I
a
was
double
explaining
standard.
earlier.
I have
Yes,
a double.
literally.
That's funny. It's coming from
Because
you.
you
That's
just
freaking funny,
all
I
right,
don't think
brother,
that's a
calm
double
down.
standard.
Mister Double
It is a
Standard
double
himself.
standard because what he said was, "Do you have a sample of it?" Well, okay, then it doesn't exist. But then as
Well,
soon as
no,
I
you have
pointed
no
out how
measurement of it. You don't have a
ridiculous
sample of
that
it. You
is,
don't have a measurement of it. You have nothing.
this
You
is
can't
just
prove
the
it's
same
there.
way that was
You've never
happening to me when
seen
she
it.
was in here. When
You've
people
never
can't,
seen
or
it.
when people know that you
Never
have
had
the
nothing.
truth,
Nothing. Everything
they
goes
have to
through
prevent
it.
you from speaking. It's kind of annoying, but it's just the point is it's just a double standard, right? Where, oh, flat earther, do you have a sample of your dome? Ha ha ha. Right? But it's like you guys believe in tons of things you don't have samples of. It's a ridiculous argument.
Hold on.
But in your guys' brains, somehow, in your state of cognitive dissonance, you actually think it's a good
Oh,
argument.
that's adorable.
Hold on, Mr. Witsit. One problem with your argument there. I have never ever heard an actual globe earther ask for a sample of the dome. I have heard them
He
ask for
literally just did.
arguments for the dome.
He
So you're
literally just
building a
asked me for
straw
a
man,
sample.
and then
He
say,
literally
"Hold on,
just
I'm
asked me
speaking."
for
So
a
if
sample.
you don't mind, I'm speaking. So you should let me finish. So you're building a straw man, and the reason for the straw man is very clear. The reason for the straw man is so that you can focus on the
Bro,
word sample
bro,
when in
were you not
reality,
listening to the
I will
combo?
finish. I will finish. It's
You're
easier if
building
you
the
shut the
straw
fuck
man
up.
right now.
So
Just
the
let him
reason of
finish,
the straw
man.
man is so that you can move away from there is an argument for what happens
Okay.
at the center of the globe.
Okay.
That's
So
the reason of the and I
oh my
understand
god.
you. It's hard for you to hear this. That's what happens when a truth teller speaks.
All
You
right.
couldn't shut
So
the fuck up. You had to start
oh my
over talking.
god. No, actually, it's
You're
standard
building a straw man,
practice
Mr.
that when
With it.
someone is blatantly straw manning you, that you interject right then.
Oh,
Actual
really? I'll take
intellectual
that into consideration
actual
next time.
intellectuals, right, would invite such
Like
an
you?
interject. Look, see, was that him doing it in good faith? Of course not. So actual
I
intellectuals.
was doing it
Oh
in
my
good faith,
god, you were just crying
and I
so much,
pointed out how
though.
He's
You're just
still
confused
crying
it
speaking
was
so
though.
much,
He's
bro.
speaking
though,
though. He's
Can
still
anyone
bruh.
control themselves? I would really like to not have to mute anybody.
Like I
You
only
guys are
interjected to
you
try
guys
to
are on a
I
save.
pointed
short
out
leash,
why.
man. Look, there's about a dozen of you right now that probably shouldn't be here for a good fucking reason. Get it
Yeah.
together now. Thank you.
So I only
Mr.
interjected in good faith because, and I tell people that the same thing. Like I'll accept interjections, right, if they're in good faith. Because if someone genuinely misunderstands your argument, there's no point in them going on and on about it. I don't know if you weren't in here or whatever. You said you literally never heard any Glober ever ask for a sample of the dome, which I know that you're lying about that, but he literally just did it. His entire argument was, "Where's the sample of the dome?" Oh, you don't have one, then now that we've established it doesn't exist, we can move on. He literally just made that argument. So I simply made the point that that was a ridiculous double standard that no Glober would ever hold to, where if you can't get a physical sample of something, then you guys don't believe in it and it doesn't exist. Because I started to name a few different examples, the inflaton, the core, we could go on forever. Okay, so there was no straw manning going on whatsoever. There's a waste of 5 minutes or whatever for everybody. So
You could have waited until I am finished with my statement to actually talk about this. I noticed that you started talking on top of me.
are you gonna acknowledge that you were completely wrong when you claimed I was straw manning someone when in fact he literally had just now made that point?
What I said was you are strawmanning the globe Earth because I have never heard one single globe Earther say that. If that's what the person asked because I joined just now, then
Yes.
then that point rests with you.
Okay, so then you were wrong. It's all good. I mean, I would probably refrain from like immediately going on some big thing about how I'm strawmanning
Sure.
someone if you didn't hear what someone said to me. But NASA used that to shut me down. So the point is, this is the bigger point I was making earlier. This happens all the time, bro. And this is why, like, I mean, I did that for years. I'm genuinely not even remotely interested in stuff like that anymore, right? Where Globers just have a blatant double standard for everything, where it's like rules for thee, not me, right? And you got to go get a physical sample. You got to do this. You got to be able to answer every single question or your whole entire idea is wrong. And it's like, it's never applied the other way. And I think that some of it is bad faith and intellectually dishonest. And I think some of it is like cognitive dissonance. I think that they don't even realize that they're doing it. And, it is what it is. But in fact, our position is way more founded than yours, way more founded. Because if I say, yo, yeah, my position is that the Earth is stationary, it doesn't move. Well, that's what all empirical measurements of the surface of the actual Earth are showing. Your position is like, oh, well, you can't tell, and it looks like it's still, but it's not still, and all this stuff. It's like, whatever, right? No, actually, and that's cool. Here's the bigger point. Maybe we can move back towards this. The guy brought up, why do I bring up motion? Why did I start covering just motion and like geocentrism, where even I showed like the geocentric globe at times? Was I preparing for seeing the 24-hour sun and shifting to that? No, right? It's like my new standard, and it's been like this for a while, is if someone can't go back and forth with me and be intellectually honest about geocentrism or if the earth is moving or can be the center of the universe, I do not participate in conversations with them about flat earth because they can't show good faith or intellectual honesty. Then flat earth is definitely just going to be a waste of time.
You said that there's more evidence for the flat Earth and it's the stronger position. How can you demonstrate that?
Do you mind if I
made
ask
an example.
You mind if I ask a question, Leo? I was on mute on accident. I wanted to ask a question that I thought was pertinent, or not Leo, excuse me, Lauri.
Sure, go ahead.
All right, thanks. Witsit? There is a trip going on with your buddy Jaren. Well, yes, I don't know how to call him. He's still your friend, hopefully, but
Yep.
to Punta Arenas, right? And I'm sure you're aware of this. And a friend of mine, Max, who's here in the chat, is actually going.
Me?
Do you? Yeah. Thanks, Max. Do you find it? I was alarmed by the sort of state of affairs, I guess, from flat earthers that were contesting even something as simple as going to a place where people are known to live, right, and known to visit, and that sort of thing. Do you have any thoughts about it? Like, did it kind of surprise you? I mean, it's a similar trip, right? So, like, you have to be kind of drawing comparisons, I guess. But has it struck you as odd?
I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
But
you know Joshua Monday?
I mean, I went to Punta Arenas, right? I mean, it's obviously a real place. So, I mean, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
People act like it's not real.
Well, yeah, and Jaren's going there with a guy by the name of Joshua Monday. Go ahead, Max. I'll let you take it.
He's not Joshua. He's just Josh.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Josh wanted to verify some of the claims about the path of the sun and so on. So he told Jaren, like, hey, do you want to go back? So they're going to Edmonton, Canada in a couple of weeks, actually. And they're going to go to 53 degrees north, do sun observations, star trails, measuring a mile, measuring a degree of longitude, and so on. And then in December, they're coming down to Punta Arenas, and I'm joining them because it's a very cheap trip for me. So the problem is that some people like Banjo, Vika, Vlad,
okay, yeah.
like,
I mean,
they're freaking out over.
Well, okay, they're
a trip
retards.
like that.
Well, I mean, they showed that they were retards, so I don't care. I mean, so yeah, I mean, cool.
Well, I guess
I'm not in some like cult where I have to like defend everyone that
He
that
wasn't asking you to defend. He was just asking
Oh, I know. I'm
you,
just
like, your
explaining it.
opinion.
I'm just
That's fine.
explaining. Like, there's a bunch of retarded people on both sides, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but I just thought it was. I honestly was surprised by the fact that they're kind of flipping chairs about the whole thing, and it seems like it should be, the burden really should be for them to sort of get past the fact of it being fake or it being like this anti-religion,
Well,
like
they should go,
you're
right? I mean, they
zealots, or, of
should go. They
course,
should go.
right?
I'm sure their whole
Yeah.
thing is like, oh, of course it's Jaron going again, and he's a Mason and a Shield and all this because they were saying about me. Well, they should just go and do it, right? I mean, I do want to at one point go to like very close to the North Pole, right? Because I've gone to the South and I want to go to the North. But like that's actually the first time I ever even left the country, right? So like my first stamp is like South America, then Antarctica. Like the one big stamp in my entire passport's Antarctica. I would like to go somewhere in Greenland or something like that. I think that would be cool. But I guess now, I guess I'm kind of missing my opportunity to do that, right? I'd have to do it pretty soon, huh? For this year to see like a 24-hour sun, right?
Yeah, I think it's. I'm not sure when it expires, but yeah, you're over the halfway point.
But yeah, I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, I will say like, here's like my take on the whole thing. It was very trippy, right? Because and like one way I've kind of was thinking of while I was there, I'm like, okay, if this is the truth, right? Despite all the stuff that people say, like I consistently challenge my ideas. So like the whole time on that whole trip, I was constantly making myself think like, is it possible the Earth is a globe, and viewing the observations from that lens the entire time. And I was thinking like, okay, if you're like under a giant dome, well, I mean, if something were to be like viewed relative to that, technically a dome would be like curving down, right? As you go underneath it, it would curve down as you get further and further out towards the outside or whatever. And is that maybe playing a role where we're looking at the sky and as we go out, we're seeing it curve down? I don't know, maybe, who knows? But that does happen. That's all I'm saying. Like it definitely is a phenomena where like as you keep going further and further south, right? Like things kind of tilt over. And obviously, yes, the globe predicts that and says that that's what. But that should be obvious before I went anywhere. I thought everyone already knew that. I really think I was shocked by how few people knew certain things. And of course, it's really easy for the globe side, right? Because you have all of your answers spoon fed to you. To even venture to the other side, it's like you have to reset, and now you have to consume information about every single phenomena. Basically, you're talking about like
Well,
Earth science, dude. You're talking about literally everything. Whereas the Globers are like, well, I don't even have to. I'll just Google it at any point in time, and this is what I believe, right? So I
well,
understand it.
with all due respect, though, I mean, you can put together a model, like you can teach a third grader, right, to have a model of how the solar system works, and it does work, right? Like, and we
Yeah,
can
but
show
like, who
these.
cares? Like, would your argument be like, even if something isn't true, if I can teach it in a simple way that in theory works, I should teach it to them so they can understand something, even if it isn't true, right? Because I would assume that isn't your position, and I know that's not what you said, but I'm just saying that's kind of like the implication that ends up
Well,
coming there. Because like the people teaching
sort of
gravity,
just
for example, people think that we should continue to teach kids gravity in from like this Newtonian perspective. So like it's a good example of that, right? Like where it's really simple, it quote unquote works, which is a pragmatic fallacy, right? Like claiming something's true because it works it is a pragmatic fallacy. And people do that a lot with like Newtonian gravity. And people are taught this to this day. Children are taught gravity, and the way they understand it is this idea of it being like a force that's pulling, almost like a magnet, pulling things to the earth, right? And that just isn't, that's fundamentally not the case, right? And the mainstream model knows that cannot be true, knows that isn't the case, and that is not what the mainstream belief of gravity is. But because it's simple, because in theory it works a lot of the time, the math works specifically, like we still teach kids that. Like I'm totally opposed to that. I think the kids would be way
What
better off not being taught that at all,
what age
because it
do
just
they
isn't
teach
true.
that to kids?
What they teach, what you weren't taught gravity as a kid?
At what age do they
Well,
teach that to
I was
kids?
first told about gravity like in kindergarten, dude. Like literally, they show you like a globe, and then
I think
there's
Earth
obviously
space
the person that
science.
raises their hand and asks
Right.
how you don't fall off of it, and then they
Because
say,
that's learning is an iterative process. So you give people digestible ideas so that then you can expand upon them.
But even if they're not true, right? Because and I don't know what I would assume curriculum is actually, the evidence shows the curriculum has gotten much stupider. And I actually went to a private school and it was in all honors classes, right? And my honors physics 1 and 2 honor class, I mean, we were taught Newtonian gravity, bro. I mean, we were told briefly about Einsteinian gravity, but we were taught Newtonian gravity. And that's what we did. That's most of the math that we did. We did not do relativistic math, right? And I don't.
Yeah, because it's
anyone trying to claim
very
otherwise is lying. I mean, in high
because
school they teach you.
it's very advanced math.
Yeah, so that's my point,
And
though.
to be fair,
The
the U.S.
simplicity isn't
education
a
system
justification for
just
teaching
sucks.
something we know isn't true.
The U.S. education system kind of sucks.
Yeah, but my point is it was better whenever I was in school and I went to a better school, but nevertheless it was still taught and it's going to be taught. I guarantee you, if I go to another country where they say that's better, they're not teaching a 10th grader in physics Einsteinian math. They're just not. I mean, literally,
because it
physicists
requires
don't even physicists struggle to do Einsteinian math most of the time nowadays. They don't. No one's
because
doing it.
It's advanced math. It requires.
Yeah, I mean, Einstein himself said that he
integration.
struggles to do it. Actually, Einstein couldn't do it. So, I think the thing about it is, though, my point is the simplicity of the alternative isn't a justification for teaching something that we know isn't true.
But that's what I told you, that it's an iterative process. You teach some things tentatively, and then you expand on them. That's the whole.
But it's not really. Maybe a good
whole
teacher would
crux
teach
of
it
the
like that.
education system.
In theory, maybe a good teacher would teach it like that. Would say, look, we know this isn't actually true, and that isn't actually how gravity works. It's a very useful equation that we use in engineering and oftentimes locally and stuff, but we know this isn't actually how it works. But I just think it's a problem, right? Because when I was in physics honors, I actually had an aptitude for math. So I would do all the Newtonian equations. I mean, you could whatever. I could care less what you think, right? But I would do all the equations real fast.
Daryl made you cry.
And for studies have shown that people that actually have aptitudes in math, one of the key factors of it is actually comprehending the application of the math. And that for most people, they're detached from the application. So they're just trying to memorize the steps and how to do the math. But if it actually clicks in your brain as to what the application of that math is, then you're able to do it much more efficiently, right? I literally internalized this belief that that's how the world worked. I believe that Newtonian gravity was how the world worked. It's what held the world together. It's what was keeping me on the ground. I believe that. So whenever I'm told and this spills over into chemistry honors, you're using Newtonian gravitational equations all throughout different subjects, right? Yes.
In chemistry, you use Newtonian gravitation?
Yes.
Where?
Yeah. Our teacher, so I had a smaller private school, right? So the same teacher was with physics and chemistry, right? And when they would show us say the combination of certain chemicals or whatever, I can't even remember specifics of it, but maybe I'm tripping. Is there no is there not scenarios where you would apply gravity in chemistry?
Nope.
Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it was just physics honors. I don't really know. But
the thing is, the globe has all these different gravity ideas. They've got all these gravity ideas.
Yeah, which it does. What
do you have to give to FE right now? Because the globe is not short on alternative gravity ideas. They're all over the internet. Every one of these things, there's all kinds of alternative theory. All these exist. So just sitting here and just it's not a unique position to have an alternative global gravity view. There's theoretical physicists that do this for a living. There's hobbyists. There's all kinds of stuff. So just and not only do they see a potential problem, but they go and they build models with it. Academic, crazy. There's whatever. But what do you have that will help the community right now?
This is what you understand. I don't owe people anything. I don't have to devote my life to developing a model. And, I did that for a while. I showed different ideas and I showed a torus field, a plane of inertia, things like that make the most sense to me. But I am wise enough to understand that we do not have the totality of accessibility needed to make a model, right? Like a full functioning model. I get that maybe that might be this huge deal for you. I mean, I understand the appeal of it. It isn't the biggest deal in the world for me, right? Like I'm able to be content knowing that there's some type of like mystical nature to like where we like
To
live
just
and
let it all
where we
go out,
exist,
then
and
maybe.
that we don't fully understand it, and that it just isn't what we were told, right?
This
And that
just the
that's all
thing
I need to know,
is,
man.
like naturally, you're very magnetic, and when you speak, attention comes to you, and you're well spoken, and you're very good at doing that. But it's like I don't think you have, not that you're not capable of. I don't think you have what FE needs right now.
But that's totally fine with me because I don't know what FE is and what it needs, but like
Well, I could I mean, FE, there's millions of people, right? I mean, they're broad, but
and I think that so
as
many
far
of
as the
them, it's
people that
this
have
is
been,
so good for flat Earth, in my
as
opinion, in
far
the
as the
long
people that
term.
have been coming to these communities, they're hearing, and they're realizing like there may be an issue, like model wise, not that FE is but that, hey, the map we thought may not be it, the setup
But
we
that, but
thought, the
that, I think
layout we
that's
thought.
why I think it's good, bro. Because like in reality, that should have been done the whole time. And like when I first found out about flat Earth, I looked at the cover of B.O.B's album, and it doesn't have like a specific map. It just has a general idea. It has like a dome. It doesn't, And then I just listened to what he was saying, and he made some interesting points. And then like everything else he was saying, talking about, were things I had researched that were actually true, that were considered conspiracies. And I'm like, okay, what is this guy even talking about? And I looked into it and I'm like, first of all, flat earth is fundamentally good for people, right? The actual journey of it, because what it makes you do, it makes you step back and then like question all these things you thought you knew. And what you end up finding out is that you had never even critically assessed and thought about most of what you believe. And that's just a fact. It's just a fact. And any Glover that says otherwise isn't telling the truth. And it's getting even worse now. They're going through the modern education system. They're watching TikTok. They have like a 30-second attention span. Like it's ridiculous, right? They're not like when I looked at Eric Dubé's 200 proofs, right?
Witsit, what do you
There are
have? What
wait,
do you
listen to my
have for
point here, man.
FE?
When I went through Eric Dubé's 200 proofs, there were many problems with it. So like we know that some of those things are wrong now, right? But it absolutely makes you question and rethink about all these things, especially if you go into it like in good faith, right? That you just never had considered. That is fundamentally good for people, man, because I would rather be like, yo, I don't know exactly what the earth is. I don't have a model than to think I know exactly what it is and not even understand or comprehend
You're
or
not
know
answering
what
the
I believe.
question. You're putting a sales pitch for why it's good to question flat Earth. I think you're shifting the topic. Like I
Do you not
said,
get the
you're
point?
naturally
Gatekeeper.
magnetic with your attention. Okay, but the way the way these arguments are framed is
We got a chance to hear some great stuff for Witsit. We don't need to hear from
flat
Gatekeeper,
version.
bruh.
But I mean,
You
I
know,
don't guess I
Witsit,
don't
that
guess
I'm
you're
on the
getting my.
record
I
saying
just don't think you're getting my point, bro. Like, I think
I
that
don't think
not
you're
just
getting my
teaching.
point. You don't have what FE
You
needs
said your
right
point
now.
multiple times. Yeah, but you said the multiple point. How would I not get your point? Your point is like very simple, and you've said it multiple times, and I addressed it directly. Are you? Are you?
Witsit.
Is like
Do
your
you know that
follow up
I'm
implication that I shouldn't be speaking or something? Like what are you hoping to attain here? I need to go away and not speak anymore. Like I don't because is that what you're trying to say?
No, he thinks you owe him something, and I
I
don't
know that's
Do
what I'm
you know,
saying. It's
why.
Witsit,
weird. Like,
that I'm
and
on
my
the
point
record
here is, I
saying
think
the
this is
thing?
ultimately good for flat Earth because I will even admit that at times, certainly early on, when people would come and question and ask me questions, I would pull that model out and show them, and I wouldn't always make sure that I'm like, "Yo, this is just an idea of a visualization to give you a general idea. This is not whatever." And although pretty early on I was doing that and saying like we don't know that this model is true, there are problems with it, whatever. It's better that people don't go in there thinking, oh well, if flat Earth is true, then this is it, and there's a dichotomy. Here's the flat Earth model. Here's the globe model. And then if they start to see problems with the flat Earth model and they go Google the answers for the globe Earth model, they think, oh well, then the globe must be true because that is such a low IQ, retarded way to go about this conversation and that is what I realized more than ever after Howard Trip that apparently a way higher number of people than I realized had done that, and that's stupid. Of course, like I did not need to see the 24-hour sun to know that that Gleason model was wrong, bro. Just go look at the direction that the sun sets in the south. Are you kidding me? I thought we all knew this. and we're like, yo, this has to be some type of dome
No, that's
optics. It's obviously in a apparent position. Like there, like obviously there's a we're not seeing the actual position of the sun everywhere on the Earth if it's flat. Just a fact.
you've had nearly 2 years though to think of like a better competing model. That's sort of why I asked the question.
I haven't even. What's so funny is I haven't even attempted to do that really. Like I have heard of other ideas. Like I think they're interesting. What I realized going there is like, dude, just to go there and see that was like, well, all we're doing is just seeing something, right? I mean, some people, what they put, you got a few measurements here and there, but like, dude, that place is insane. Okay.
Yeah.
All these fairy tales about somebody going there and traveling, brother, that place will swallow you up and not even think twice. And it is under wraps, and it is not somewhere that people are even supposed to be. So
You've said this to the
my
flat earthers, right?
understanding of it is like literally God doesn't want people there, bro. Like, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's just you're not supposed to go there. So it's like whatever this place is, whatever that is, it's like you're not supposed to keep going past people. This idea that there's like way more land outside of it, I don't resonate with that anymore at all because like just and this is just purely speculation, just an intuitive thing. I just don't think we're supposed to keep going directly across that, right? Like, I don't think God's like a magician trying to trick you. You're going to die if you try to go there, then you're just not supposed to go there.
And like the sad thing is that the sad thing is like from the outside looking in, right? Like it looked like a pleasant-ish enough trip for us to witness, right? Like there wasn't a blizzard where you were holding onto a flagpole like for dear life sort of thing. Like we're thinking of
it's probably the most
Antarctica, right?
Perfect conditions you
and
could
so it's
ever
hard
ask
for
for,
like
but it still sucked.
Yeah, it's hard for the average person to be like,
further,
okay, yeah.
Before we move on to further, I am on the record as acknowledging that the only value of flat Earth that I've got is that it has forced me to go back on things that I just took for granted and then actually get the arguments and the evidence for them. That's the only positive value that I see for flat Earth.
Well, even you phrasing it as though that's some insignificant thing, right? Like you're saying the only value I got was actually learning and understanding what I believe to be true. So like you get the bigger point there is that, well, previous to that, and this was the case with everybody, and I don't care. There's been a couple people I've heard claim this isn't the case. It was the case for everybody. Okay. Everybody didn't even fully understand what they believed to be true when it came to the earth. It's just a fact. Right. And it's like, that's how we're taught. That's how we're given information. And it just is what it is. And it's obviously like a huge topic and there's so much information. Right. But don't you think it's important that we comprehend? I would much rather have less knowledge claims, right, that I fully understand than having like a huge amount of them that I don't even understand, because then I'm not even thinking for myself. Someone else has just created my worldview, has created my beliefs, and I have to turn to them to ask them what I believe. That is so like emasculating and just like it's like you have no agency. And a lot of us were kind of led into thinking like that, right? And flat Earth just shatters that. Even if you go into flat Earth as like a staunch glober that just wants to shut flat Earth down. And in fact, when I first got into flat Earth, I was literally just going in there to debunk it. That was it. You find out it is not nearly as easy to debunk as people would like to believe.
It absolutely is. And that is something that every single flat earther ever has said. They're all the original flat earther, and they all
you're not being honest, MX, if that's how you feel. Like there's enough.
Or it's like insane that you'd be talking about it for so long.
Mm-hmm. So you know my personal experience, Andrew.
Which is weird that you'd be so obsessed with it, right? Like if there was a room that said pigs fly, right? Like yeah, it's super easy to disprove that, and I would definitely not talk about it for years. Like that sounds insane. And the reason that this is such an interesting conversation is because it has so much in it. And it's about where you live, and there's so much information. And what you actually find out is when you pull the curtain back, so much of the current model, the mainstream accepted model, is speculation. It's unfinished. It's constantly changing. And then just saying like this lazy phrase of that's how science works. It's like, okay, cool. Yes, that's technically how we always are trying to figure out how it works or whatever. But a lot of stuff that people thought they knew for sure, flat earthers have forced them to find out. Actually, there isn't. It's just a guess. It's just a claim, right? Like the core is a perfect example. The core of the globe cannot even be replicated on a small scale. Like even the fundamental physics of it. No, it can't.
I saw a demonstration the other day. They built a machine
in a moment whenever it's possible.
It doesn't actually do what the globe Earth core has to do, right? I can just send a paper so we can not do the debate. When you read the paper, then we can do the debate. I'll send you a paper where it's shown like, yeah, we absolutely cannot replicate what the globe Earth core would have to do. It's seemingly physically impossible.
I saw it. I literally saw it the other day.
No, you didn't.
I did.
It doesn't exist.
It does.
I'm kind of relatively new to the flat Earth community. I just wanted to hear what your take is on language, like the math language versus the phenomena.
Yeah.
That they're
Yeah. Like math describes, science explains, and almost the whole entire globe deception is conflating those two things. And people think that like a sufficient mathematical description is equivalent to an explanation, right? They're like fundamentally different. Like science explains, math describes it. Math's like the language we use to just describe the explanation. Math means nothing. Right, like I mean, it doesn't mean it's not like meaningless, but it doesn't tell you anything in terms of what is true, right? Like you could just like with my words, I can describe anything. I can use math to describe anything. It doesn't mean anything's true. That point there, though, is actually like one of the biggest ones. If you listen to any flat Earth debate, the Globers constantly conflate math with truth, right? And they conflate math and science, description and explanation, and they're just fun. That's just not correct, right? I mean, it's like the biggest spell ever.
and
just
I went down the route. I played.
1 second, you can continue.
Hold up.
I posted the
MX.
thing that you said.
Hold up, MX. I went down the route.
Max, we're gonna let Andrew get a question in, if that's cool.
I went down that route with
that.
And I tried to prove their math for them, and they don't understand the math. They sell for, I mean, over and over and over. Spent the last 6 months saying, okay, I'll go get the math and shove it down your throat. And they won't even process it. So they're asking for it, and they won't take it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I'm sure you've probably also experienced that they think that a lot of them think that like math is science. Like they think that if the math works, it's true. So there's scenarios where the math doesn't work, the math backfires, the math falsifies their claims. But then even when the math works, it doesn't mean it's true, bro. Like the good example of it is the Newtonian equations can be applied to orbital motion of planets, and people say, therefore, it proves Newtonian gravity is true, right? Because I can use a simple Newtonian equation and tell you where Mars is going to be in a couple weeks. And it's like, that doesn't mean anything. That literally doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean it's true at all, right? And it's just like, I don't know, it's like a wall that people have. But I will say this. It sounds like maybe you're actually good. You actually have an aptitude for math. What I found is the people that have an aptitude for math are not the ones that do that, right? The ones that actually kind of struggle with math are the ones that like deify it.
Yeah, that's so true. And you can see like you can see the pathing of phenomena that changed into needing a language to confirm it. So from Maxwell to Steinmetz into the modern infrastructure we have, there was a simplification, right? Maxwell wrote this massive like labyrinth of calculus that is, you can't even really begin to get your mind wrapped around, but Steinmetz comes along and simplifies it into fractional algebra. So we have this like simplification. We stood on the shoulders of giants and simplified it into this language, and we have no idea about the phenomena. And that's really what you're pointing out. I think it's incredible.
Exactly, because actually, the real pursuit of truth, so what science is supposed to be, and explanation is going to be a much simpler. It's going to be a much more like simple conversation back and forth. We're literally going to talk about it. There's no math required, right? Like if I'm trying to, for example, we can't even use math for the ether. So maybe arguably the most important phenomena, like the primary substance that everything else is a modality of, you can't even use math. You can't apply math to it. It's non-Cartesian. It isn't even material. It doesn't have a coordinate system. It isn't Cartesian fundamentally. It's like the most important phenomenon in the world that I would say you need to have a grasp of to even start to really build any viable framework of physics. You can't use math for it, which is why people panic and just have to throw it out, right? If you can't quantify it, then it can't exist. And this then takes you down into the problem of quantum mechanics. The reason quantum mechanics is a thing that people love so much is because they believe you have to be able to quantify everything. And since you actually cannot quantify everything on the smallest scale, quantum is just a shit show where they have no idea what they're doing, and they have a bunch of like nonsense paradoxical beliefs that will never work. Right.
Wait,
Well
so
said.
if quantum mechanics doesn't exist, like what are particle accelerators and so on? Just
I didn't say it
boondoggles
didn't
where they spend.
exist, bro. The
I've heard you
phenomena is
say that
real.
I've heard you say, and I quote, quantum mechanics is retarded.
Yeah, because it's like
So
the
what's the machine
phenomena
for?
the phenomena is real, but the models are just that. And then they reify the models because they need to quantify everything. They think they need to quantify everything. So if the question is simple, right? Like, can you quantify the immaterial?
Science doesn't care about the material, though.
Well, no. You may not care about it, right? But physics fundamentally derives from a primary substance that is immaterial or has a tenuity beyond conception, to quote Tesla,
Oh,
right?
that is lovely.
You can't quantify it. And this is what quantum's coming out and admitting this, by the way. I mean, they're literally
Yep.
coming out and admitting it. So
Okay.
They are.
Where? Do you have a citation? Oh, and just by the way,
Well,
before we
they're
carry
now
away,
using the
I
same
did
language,
post.
the
Excuse
same
me, one second.
phenomena that the ether physicists discovered. They're just discovering that now and naming it new. Like the Cooper pairs. If you've ever looked into this, like room temperature superconductivity, these are the same effects that ether physicists figured out. They're just using a different language codex. That is literally it.
correct. And dude, what's
I
so crazy
posted
is
the
like ether
evidence.
physics has known all of this existed the whole time, bro. All of it. Even if you go back like 10, 15 years to the discoveries of quantum, right? We are getting into like 0 point energy, vacuum energy, quantum foam, all of these things, right? Like we knew that was already there. Every single ether prediction, quantum is just like crawling and stumbling like some drunk caveman with a clipboard trying to count everything, and they're finally like figuring it out, and it's like, duh, it's been here the whole time. That's the biggest part of this whole entire conversation is any intellectually honest person is going to say, wait a minute, so then why do we throw out the ether? If the ether so much more sufficiently explains all of this phenomena and predicted all this phenomena that the cutting edge of quantum mechanics is just now quote unquote discovering, then why did we throw ether out? Why is it considered not viable? Why is it not still used? If it was the groundwork of like electrical field theory, and it's literally what gave us the entire electrical grid we have to this day, and then why did we not use it? Why did it get thrown out? And the actual answer to that, if you actually investigate it objectively, the answer is that
Mhm.
Michelson Morley showed the Earth can't be moving if there is
No,
an
it
ether.
didn't.
Yeah,
You're lying.
yeah.
Just FYI, that thing that you said didn't exist, the actual device where they replicated Earth's core, I posted the evidence in the chat if you want to look at it.
Well, no, I never said there wasn't a device where they claimed to try to replicate it. They didn't accurately replicate it.
They did.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, the evidence is in the chat.
Okay, you want me to drop the papers that show that you can't do it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I always want the evidence with it.
I think you were wrong about a minor point. You said that Newtonian gravity can be applied or it can be misapplied to, let's say, planetary orbits. And what you said next was it's literally not true at all. Well, it literally is true to a degree if it tells you where the planet is going to be, for example. Then that means that it literally is true to a degree. That's why we use mathematics. It can tell us the truth of things. For example, if I need to find out how
No.
tall a building is, I can use mathematics for it. And
Okay, that
that
is
means it can give us truths.
no, brother.
So
Okay,
you cannot
brother.
just throw mathematics under the bus and say this has nothing to do with truth, and because people can use it to lie, because if you
Dude,
get the numbers wrong, then mathematics goes wrong. That's a fallacy from misuse. Just because
this is
something can be misused doesn't mean that it doesn't have a valid use.
I never
You
said it
just
didn't
need
have
to
a
use
valid
it
use.
right.
You ended your whole point with a blatant straw. I never said it didn't
You literally said that if we
have.
apply it, it's literally not true
Brother,
at
I
all.
waited that whole time to respond to you, man. So like I never said
Yes,
it
you
didn't have
did.
a valid
Yes, you did.
I never said it didn't have a valid use, right? Like what I'm saying is you're giving us a perfect example of the point that he just brought up, right? Which is that people are always conflating math and science. So there's a difference in math describes, science explains. You're talking about how we can use math certain times to do certain things, and then conflating that to truth of how it works, like explaining it. So the orbits are a perfect example. I can use Newtonian equations to predict the orbital path of the planets accurately. That does not mean, however, that the Newtonian gravity theory or explanation of how it works is actually true just because the math works to map out the path of the planets. That's called a pragmatic fallacy. Okay. And this happens all the time, right? Like they conflate math and science. They say, oh no, if Newtonian gravity wasn't true, then how can I map out the path of the planets with it? Well, because it's just a mathematical description. It's just like language. It's just a tool to use to describe. It's just literally kinematics. It doesn't mean anything. Like that doesn't actually tell. That has nothing to do with the dynamic claim, the causal mechanism claim, right? The explanation, the actual science, right? Like you just gave us a perfect example of the point we were discussing.
Sure. So if we're committing a pragmatic fallacy, I think you're committing a fallacy as well, and the fallacy is a fallacy from abuse, because you keep saying that mathematics can be misused, just like language. Language can be used to lie, and so can mathematics. So let's move away from mathematics. Well, hold on. Just because something can be abused doesn't mean that there is no valid use, and therefore we shouldn't use it at all. That's a fallacy from abuse. Just because some people might use knives for a bad purpose, that doesn't mean that the knife doesn't have a valid purpose.
Why do you keep ending with have a valid purpose? Like one could certainly argue that even mapping out the planets is a valid purpose subjective term. You could say that the use of Newtonian gravity in engineering is a valid purpose. I would even say it is. But really all you're doing is accounting for weight, right? The distribution of weight when you're building something. Like the point is that even though you can use that equation accurately in engineering and we do it all day, every day, that doesn't mean that there's gravity being an innate force of an object causes an actual attraction and then pulls something as a force to it, that doesn't mean that is an actual accurate explanation of quote unquote gravity or the phenomena of weight. Just because the math works and we can use it doesn't mean that it's true, right? So do you understand that? Like that's what I'm saying. So it's a pragmatic fallacy, man. Like to say, look, Newtonian equations work to map out the planets, therefore Newtonian gravity is true would be a fallacy. It'd be a pragmatic fallacy.
Sure. I
Still
was
waiting on the
thinking.
papers, though.
I was thinking. If you're now saying, because earlier you said that you have a stronger claim, or how did you say it? Flat Earth works better. But some time ago you said, well, we were a bit too quick on going with models, so we don't actually have a flat Earth model. And now you're saying, well, also mathematics, we really shouldn't use it. So if you do not have mathematics and you do not have a model, how is flat Earth actually better and more applicable than anything else?
Well, I mean, we always just like impulsively go back to like, well, what about flat Earth? It's like, what are you talking about exactly, man? Like, I'm not invoking a model. Flat Earth is nothing more than the rejection of a positive claim of a model, which is that the Earth is a globe with a radius of 3,959 miles. I don't believe that. We falsified that. That isn't correct. Okay. Like the next step that you want people to take is like, okay, well, then what is it? Because we were all spoon fed what everything supposedly was our whole life and just took it for granted. So if we take it away from you, then people just like start to have withdrawals and they feel like entitled to have an replacement, which is why I coined the phrase falsification is independent of replacement, early on when I got into this, because that's where every debate ends up going. It's not, it's like, oh, well, if what you're saying is true and my belief isn't true, then I need a new belief. It's like, brother, sorry, we can't actually do that. We don't have full access to the earth. We can't get outside of the earth. We don't like, I mean, it doesn't mean that the globe remains true until I give you a replacement of it. Right. And I always use the same analogy. I don't want to go on here, but like I always use the same analogy. It's like if you grew up and you finally became an adult and you're going through your parents' closet when you visit from college and you find a box that says do not open, you open it and it's like adoption papers and you look all through it and it's like pictures of you as a baby and you find out that you had like that you were adopted and you go tell your friend, dude, you're never going to believe this, I just found out my whole life is a lie, everything I thought was true isn't true, and actually those aren't my biological parents, I'm adopted. And you're like, what? They have to be. Like I know them, they've always been your parents. Everyone at school and everyone at church knows that they're your parents, everyone agrees that they're your parents. And you're like, well, I mean, here's the proof falsifying that they're my parents, man. Like I was adopted. Well, who are your real parents then? I don't know. I don't know yet. Well, it would be like saying, well, until you can tell me who your real biological parents are, I'm not going to believe that you're adopted and those aren't your biological parents. That would just be retarded, right? It's like falsification's independent of replacement. And that's
Yeah,
what flat Earth actually is.
That would hold if you had the box with the adoption papers. You don't.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Physical empirical
No,
measures the
you
surface of
don't.
the Earth falsify the claimed
Yeah.
curvature rate. So I mean,
No,
I'm
it
sorry.
doesn't. That's a nice mantra you have, but you've spoken with surveyors that measure the Earth curve. I can show you measurement of the quote unquote flattest places on Earth, the Uyuni Salt Salar in Bolivia and the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah. Guess what? They're
No.
not flat.
Well, you can. You can show me optical calculative assumptions, reifying the globe model, making the appropriate
That's a nice
correction,
deflection.
assuming refraction, and then assuming the difference in
Oh,
the
wait.
actual
What do you mean assuming
observation and
refraction?
assuming the refraction is going to be the exact amount needed to explain the difference in what the globe predicts and what's actually observed. And every time I've debated actual surveyors live in front of everybody, that's what
Yeah.
they always ultimately admit. How did you figure out that there was this much refraction? Well, if I look at
You
the
measure it.
geoid model, if I look at the geoid model, I would see that the globe claims that this object should be here. When I actually took the angle measurements of it, it was here. Therefore, that must mean it was refracted the difference in those 2 points. It's just assuming the globe and then backfilling.
No,
It's
it's not.
called the Texas sharpshooter fallacy. That's what it's called.
No, that is an adorable deflection, but none of that is true because I have one of those measurements, which is not optical.
What? Go ahead. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh man, and then we're gonna get dragged into some flat Earth debate about measurements where you're gonna end up what you just said is gonna end up just being debunked, but it's gonna take forever.
No,
And
I mean, that's a lovely deflection, but
okay,
no,
okay,
it's not
summarize it
optical.
succinctly, man. It's not optical. Go ahead. What measurement do you have that's not optical?
It's a GPS measurement.
Oh my god, dude, are you kidding me?
No.
Do GPS models assume the globe?
No, they rely on the globe
Oh my
because
god.
it's the truth.
Oh no, they assume the globe, right? Like
No, they don't.
fundamentally. Yeah, intrinsically. So your
No.
proof the Earth's a globe is if you use the model that assumes it is a globe, then the data matches once corrected to match the model that claims it's a globe.
It's not
It's like,
correct. It's not
bro,
correct
do you
at
not
all. That's
understand what a
again a lovely
reification fallacy
deflection.
is?
I
You know
do
what a
know that.
reification
That's what
is?
you're
Okay.
doing.
All right, brother. Well, thank you for trying and coming in, right? And when someone
Oh,
wants
that's
to explain to me,
adorable.
when someone wants to explain to me the high frequency microwaves that are shot parallel to the surface of the Earth, right? That
You mean Laura?
cannot be significantly affected by refraction, and they go significantly greater distances than the curvature of Earth would allow.
You mean
That would
Laura,
physically
right?
obstruct the microwaves. Then hit me up, but they
You
can't
mean
because
Laura, right?
no.
You mean the LoRa system?
Laura was a radio transmission from what do you know? What?
What are you talking about then?
Microwave systems used by the military. They have like a beam divergence of a maximum of 1 meter, and they can go dozens and dozens of miles right off the surface of the earth, where the curvature of the earth should block it after just a few miles, yet they don't.
And
And
you can give me the evidence of this?
they have a 99.9% reliability. They are literally used by the military for target acquirement and many other things. And I even know the stillman of the, random
You can give
fallacy
me
and
the
joke
evidence of
theory
this,
stuff.
right?
Can we just go ahead and, yeah, of course. Can we go ahead and tell you what your side's supposed explanation is? We can just all
No,
save
I
time.
would rather you give me the flat Earth explanation. Let me handle the globe.
Oh wait, okay, bro. How can I shoot microwaves? Let's just say I shoot a microwave, and the globe Earth predicts it's going to be blocked at 6 miles, but it actually goes 42 miles, and it's
You
a
are
high
you're
frequency mic.
flat out lying about the numbers there,
It's
buddy.
a high frequency microwave. How would that work on the globe?
I would have to see the citation for that because I don't believe you that you're shooting.
Okay.
It should be blocked at 6 miles. What's the height of the transmission tower?
20 feet. I mean,
Um.
I am just making up numbers because the
Oh,
point that I'm
okay.
making, yeah, because I don't have it pulled up or anything, but this is the point I'm making.
Uh-huh.
You can even go all the way to
Uh-huh.
radio
More what
waves,
about it?
microwaves. I bring up the microwaves, right? Because the numbers are actually smaller and the frequencies are so high, you can't just throw out the word refraction. It doesn't work at all. But even with, if you just look up like everyone can just Google, right? Like radio transmission world records. And you're going to see like the official organization that has all the world records, and it's going to show you all the frequencies from small to big, from low to high, right? And you're going to see the furthest it's ever been shot successfully. And we're talking about like 1,000 megahertz. It just goes way beyond anything that can even be explained. And that's just radio waves, right? And microwaves are even more of a problem And they just invoke all kinds of made up theories that they can't actually verify to explain it, right? And the ionosphere for skywave propagation, they claim that the ionosphere is like 40 megahertz tops. And so and Oliver Heaviside came up with that, who actually was a genius and fatherhead of electrical field theory. He just theorized it because he knew it needed an explanation after the Marconi transmission. It wasn't like we went and discovered it or something. And the phenomenon is real because, again, like I said, he is a genius. Like if I shoot a free radio wave at like ionized gas, which is just plasma, right, and say that that plasma has a frequency of 40 megahertz, like they claim the ionosphere does at its highest frequency. If I shoot a radio wave that's 40 megahertz, it's going to bounce back, or 39 or 38 or 37. As long as it's lower, it's going to bounce back to me, right? So that's true. So that's what he's claiming is the idea. The idea is that it shoots, even though the globe is going down beneath it and it starts going towards space effectively, it's going to hit the ionosphere, bounce back down, right? Skywave propagation. If I shoot a frequency that's 41 megahertz, though, it's going to go right through it. It's going to pierce right through that plasma, right? So we shoot frequent radio waves with frequencies way above 40 megahertz that go thousands of miles when they should be blocked by the Earth geometrically, like at a couple hundred miles. So it's like,
so hold on.
How does that work?
Because so far you owe me the papers from the previous conversation, and now you owe me the citations for this. Can we start getting the evidence?
Oh yeah, I'll grab my MacBook. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. But are you going to concede to these things, right? Like when I told you it's just a fact that we can't accurately replicate the core of the globe Earth model in a laboratory, and you said yes, we
No, because
can.
I gave you the evidence that we can.
So you're going to concede that we can't.
No, I gave you the evidence that we can actually do that.
No, but when I show you that
done.
we can't, are you going to be honest and concede that we can't?
Well, see, yeah, probably. If you give me the evidence and it supports your position, but it's not looking good.
What? One of the last times I was on Discord, we went through this whole thing, and then every Glober just got quiet. So I mean, it's all good.
Yeah, just like you made a NASA employee cry.
Yeah, that's literally videoed. It's literally on video. Have you not seen it?
No.
Yeah, he literally cried he debated me for 2 hours, and then when it came down to like, I'm like, look, brother, I understand that like
Yeah, I
space
heard
is
the story.
cool
I
and you
have the
love it.
recording of the story. I've just never seen.
Yeah. It's recorded, man. It's when we went to the rocket launch in Florida.
Put it on the list that you have to of the things that you have to send me.
No.
No? Okay.
It's online. It's online, man.
Well, give me the link then.
Dude, brother, go find it, man.
How?
Is that in Geos? Is that the dude that started breaking down?
Is it titled "I make a NASA employee cry"? Probably not, right?
No, this was like a guy that was an astrophotographer for NASA, and he was a little bit late getting to the facility. So they're like super, like you can't come in once a certain time, but when they're going to shoot a rocket, so he had to actually go where the public was to take the pictures. And so I started talking to him, saw his credentials and whatever. He's decked out in his NASA gear. And he starts debating me because I'm saying, like, dude, this isn't actually going to space, man. I talked to him about the second law of thermodynamics.
That's adorable.
A bunch of different things. And then ultimately I end up telling him, like, he's just getting like dunked on left and right. Obviously, like someone that's not ready for that, it's just not ready for that, right? I mean, he doesn't have an answer for the second law of thermodynamics and all this. But then I end up just saying, like, look, I end up saying he's kind of just started getting to where he was like realizing, oh my God, like a lot of this does make sense. And I said, look, brother, I was just like heart to heart him, right? And it made him tear up and cry.
Dude, I have a recording of the story. I play it as a skit on my show. What I need is the evidence of it.
Okay. Well, I'm just telling the other guy that didn't know. I'm just saying. So I told him, like, look, man.
What's wrong
I said, look, man,
dude?
it's actually like a beautiful thing, right? I mean, the Earth not moving means it's in the center, and it just means that he told me he was a believer. So when he told me that, that's when I like hit him heart to heart, right? I'm like, look, it just turns out that the scriptures are literally true and like literally viable. And I mean, it just is what it is. And so it tells you that there's a firmament. And I'm like, dude, that is not why I think this. Okay. I just found out that the evidence shows that the earth isn't what they told us. And what do you know? This ancient book that made a bunch of super bold claims all of a sudden can't be disproven again. And
what, the Bible?
It wasn't Anvil, was it?
The Bible can be easily disproven, dude. It's trivial.
I was there for Anvil.
Yeah, dude. I offered to have that debate with you, and you said you didn't. You didn't want to.
Just some random guy. Like we went and documented a rocket launch in Titusville, right? And there was it was just like impromptu because what we were doing is basically just like we wanted to document it like in infrared and stuff, and then we were just talking to people around and being like, because it's like weird and creepy. If you ever been to a rocket launch, there's always like a handful of people there that are like you literally acting like they're in church and like crying and like it's so creepy and weird.
Did you know that Astronomy Live? Do you know that Astronomy Live tracked Artemis 2 all the way to the moon and back?
I'm sure he claimed he did.
Well,
yeah, that's a big claim, buddy.
He did it on a live stream,
like
buddy.
a twinkle in the sky. That was in and out.
So,
The silence of concession. Thank you very much.
You said that it's a problem that we can't like make the center of the Earth in a lab. That's some kind of a problem for the globe.
Yeah, well, it just can't be replicated in a lab. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Can you replicate the dome in a lab where you have like 0.01 atmospheres of pressure at the edge?
What?
I guess you can't. Yeah. Can you make the pressure gradient go from 14.7 to 0.1 in a lab?
I think you probably pull something like that off.
You absolutely could. You could just do it with magnetic field. Do you not know that we literally do that? Do you not know that we use magnetic fields as vacuum? Did you not know that we use magnetic fields as vacuum chambers effectively?
Yeah. Can you make a pressure gradient from 14.7 to 0.1 inside one?
Well, we'll talk about first of all, how do you think that would work if I use a magnetic field and it was to contain gas pressure, right? Which of course ultimately has to have a full physical container outside that. If the air closer to the magnetic field going to be the same density as the air further away from it? Yes or no?
Oh, you can show it. Show it in a lab.
Okay. Can you answer my question? If I have a magnetic field and it's containing gas pressure, would the gas that's closest to the magnetic field have the same density as the gas that's further away from the magnetic field?
How do you use a magnetic field to contain gas?
Bro, obviously the answer is no, because the force is going to be obviously like affecting the density. The density is going to be inversely proportionate to the distance from the magnetic field.
So how do you use a magnetic field to contain gas?
Well, we have like plasma magnetic field vacuum chambers effectively.
So we live in plasma.
You get the problem is like I'm trying to look up all these different.
I'm talking about air.
Comes back for other
talking about air.
Yeah, brother. What do you think? You didn't know that that's gas pressure?
No, we don't live in plasma, right? You don't breathe plasma now.
Oh my God, what does that have to do with anything?
You said that we can't replicate the center of the globe, and you can't replicate the atmospheric gradient that we have.
Well, I'm not claiming I've ever done it. Wait. Are you saying that? Are you claiming that you can't have a gradient unless there's no container?
No, but he's being dishonest.
I'm saying that you can't. I'm saying that you can't.
Yeah, your model cannot be done.
No, I know what he's saying. I know what he's saying, right? But like, here's the thing,
model
right?
could be reproduced. You could.
Let's just think about this logically. Can you have a pressure gradient in a container?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so you're asking a specific question.
Can I have a magnetic field? Can I have a magnetic field with dynamo?
I don't even need a magnetic field.
Let me overtalk. Okay, go on.
You're over talking, so we don't need a magnetic field. So let's just say 14.7 to like really, really, really low, right? At what point is it? Okay, just say 0.1. At what point is it exactly that you're saying it isn't attainable with a container?
You can't replicate it in a lab, is my claim.
Or at what point?
Well, let's say 10 meters, you have 14.7 on one side, and then 10 meters from that, you have 0.1. Can you demonstrate that?
Why would it need to be within 10 meters? But you're not answering my question.
Because it's in a lab.
You're admitting that we can have a gradient in a container. Okay, so that means that the gas pressure is going to be higher on one part of it than the other part of it. And I'm asking you, at what point is that no longer possible? Because you understand that physics scales, right? So it's like you're admitting it's possible, but you're just saying that at some arbitrary point that you've yet to specify, it's no longer possible.
What did you say is impossible for us to do in a lab about the globe or the center of the globe?
Oh, just to replicate like the fundamental physical claims of the core. So even how like the Curry point, how it moves, the velocity and composition. Like there's multiple parts of the core that like literally just the fundamental physical claims of the core are like literally impossible to replicate because it's physically impossible.
Yeah. Why? Because it doesn't scale.
What? Multiple things, right? You can't sustain a magnetic field at those temperatures and velocities.
With a dynamo effect, we can, though, right?
No. Not at those temperatures and velocities.
No, the movement of electrons always creates a magnetic field at any temperature, and the thing with the Curie point, it simply has to do with permanent magnets holding a magnetic field. But that's the temperature limitation does not apply to electrical current generated magnetic fields.
It is impossible to replicate what they need the core of the Earth to be with the temperatures and velocities that they claim that the core
The
is.
evidence for that has been provided, though.
What?
Yeah,
No,
you said
what?
that it's
No, it
impossible
hasn't.
with those variables.
Yes,
You said that it's
Witsit.
impossible with those variables, but you can't do the pressure gradient with the variable. So
Well, why are you saying you
No.
can't do it? Why are you saying you can't do it? So what I'm invoking
can't
is something
scale it.
that they've literally tried to do at the highest levels of physics with unlimited funding. And then you're conflating the fact that I haven't done something with the fact that it's physically impossible. Can you explain logically why it's physically
you said
impossible?
something is impossible. You said
Because it's
that it's
literally
stupid
been
to ask for you
attempted.
to give evidence of the globe or the dome.
It's literally been attempted at the highest
And
levels of
succeeded.
laboratories.
They
No,
did it with it. Yes, the evidence is in the side chat, in the actual
there we
in the white chat.
okay.
I'm
No,
still
I've
waiting
seen.
for your paper.
I know. I'm about to have to find it.
But don't say that it hasn't been done, because I have the evidence
No, it
that it
hasn't.
has been done.
Dude, you think I don't know that they've attempted to replicate the core and then they've sacrificed the actual ratios and the velocity temperature ratios and stuff like that to show that in theory the fundamental mechanism works, which everyone knows that obviously in theory the dynamo effect can be real. That isn't the actual dispute, though.
So is there issue that they simply weren't able to recreate it on a scale model, or is your claim that it's just physically not even possible on the full scale real Earth?
Well, I mean, they can't show that even with the ratios that it's physically possible. So like I'm
In a
even
lab,
yielding.
yeah.
I'm not asking you to literally replicate the entire core. I'm saying like you can't even in good faith. I'm obviously yielding. Like if you have the proper ratios, like the proper velocity, the proper temperature, the proper motion,
Different
then
mass.
you cannot do it.
They actually
Different
did.
kind of mass.
But do you recognize that something might work on a Earth size scale, but would not work the same on a lab size scale, just like the thing of 14.7 to 0.05 psi or whatever?
Wait, what? I'm trying. This is the problem, right? Like I'm trying to go over here and read through papers and look up stuff, and then everyone's asking multiple questions. What was your question?
Do you recognize that something, a certain physical phenomena, might work on a Earth size scale, but not on any lab scale?
Why?
So it is your position then that anything that would work on a globe size scale would also work that way on a lab size scale?
Well, I'm saying physics scales, right? So like, you do not understand how any of this work. Like, it's like you guys haven't actually investigated the core, and it's well known that we don't know how it works, and that there are competing models, and they're constantly changing it, trying to figure out the fundamental mechanisms of the magnetic field, how it's sustained, etc. And when they try to replicate some of the models, like the most popular ones, they fall apart in the lab. They just simply don't actually work. They
You
can't
said
get
you said
what's
that physics scales, but then you jumped into plasma when I was talking about the atmospheric rate.
well, I just brought up a random thing that even like a force can actually create a gradient. But then I'm like, well, there's no reason to do that. Like, so can a freaking container. And even with the plasma example that I brought up, which is what the Globers used to run around and share all the time to try to show gas pressure without a container, right? In that example, of course, it's ultimately in a container. Like it's sorted out with plasma and/or magnetic fields within a container.
Can you scale
Is
it
a
down and show a demonstration of it in lab
that is scaled down in
with
a lab.
air?
Are you talking about
With
the
air.
tokamak
It
reactor?
is air. What do you think? What do you think? You don't. It is air.
What
Are you talking
plasma is
about the
air?
tokamak
No.
reactor?
What the? Oh my god. What?
Are you talking about the tokamak reactor when you were talking
I
about the
don't know.
plasma thing?
I'm not sure. Whatever the Globers love to invoke for years. I don't know the name of it. Whatever the Globers have invoked for years. That is like
Yeah,
whenever they're
it's
trying
a
to show gas pressure without a container.
it's a plasma reactor that is contained by magnetic field.
Okay.
Do you agree now that we can
I
have
can
gas
even
pressure without a
show you.
container?
No,
I can
because
even
that
show you,
is
for
inside of a
example.
physical container.
No, the containment is magnetic fields, which is like
No, no,
forces.
no. It's actually in a physical container though. The entire thing is in a
What
physical.
wasn't a
No, but
physical
the
container?
plasma is floating in the middle.
Yeah, plasma's not
contained by
gas.
magnetic field. And I can show
Well,
you.
plasma's
I will
ionized
post
gas,
it.
right? But
I will post it right now. I can
Yeah,
show
but it's
you
it's
how
definitely
you can also have, for example, liquid oxygen in a magnetic field, which just float there and it forms tiny beads. So
okay, first
forces
of all,
can
the
be
only reason I
contained.
even invoked that was the idea if there's some type of container and there are like a physical container and then there are forces involved, right? Then that would actually affect a gradient. The point is that just with a physical container alone, we know that we can have a gradient. So there's no reason to think that you couldn't have a gas pressure gradient from 14.7 psi to very, very, very low pressure, right, inside of a physical container. This idea that that's
Sure,
physically
so-
impossible is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
So
then
also,
we can have a
so
contained
plasma
universe
is not
with
gas.
pressure everywhere.
What are the four states of matter?
Yes,
what are the
plasma's
four
the
states
fourth.
of matter? Yeah, it's solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. So when we're asking,
Can we
telling
have-
you gas pressure without a container, you're bringing up plasma. Plasma is not gas. It's ionized gas, but it's not gas.
But now that we know that forces can contain gas, if there's gas pressure everywhere,
That isn't
I didn't
gas. It's a different
say
type
that
of
forces
matter,
can
bro.
contain gas. I said that forces can affect the gradient.
Sure. So then we can have a universe that has a container around it, and we can have gas pressure everywhere in the universe, right?
Well, thank you. Gas pressure requires a container.
We need a container. We
Appreciate-
need a container on the Earth to have the gas pressure we have here.
No, but why? Because there's pressure outside of the Earth. 10 to the negative 17 is in outer space.
Well, you just now started invoking 10 to the negative 17 Tor in outer space. Did we really get there?
That's pressure, right?
That's just your model that you believe in.
Yeah, but it's pressure, so there's no problem with it.
What do you mean there's no problem with it?
Because that's pressure, and we have pressure here, and we know that forces can create gradients. We don't have any
What?
issue with
No. What? No.
the
If you don't have a physical container, the gas pressure would fill the available space. Do you not even understand the argument?
Wait.
There is
Hold on,
gas
'cause-
pressure in space, right? You said that you can have gas pressure
But
gradients
it would
inside a
fill the
container.
available space, though.
I'll debunk that very quickly. At sea level, 1 atmosphere's pressure. The top of Mount Everest, 0.3. Why isn't the pressure from sea level rushing up to fill up the available space if we're contained?
Awesome. Super simple, multiple reasons. One is that we have an electric gradient on the Earth, right? For starters.
So?
How does,
What do you
how does
mean
that
so?
affect the gas?
Yeah, so
How does
what's
electricity affect gas? That's your question?
Yeah, it makes it glow.
Wait, you didn't know? Wait, time out. You didn't know that electrical charges can affect the dispersion, velocity, and direction of gases?
How?
What? Because there's a literal physical interaction with it and an impedance. I mean, there are actual generators that there are literal generators that run off of this principle.
So if I have like a huge battery and then an empty battery, is the pressure different?
Because I know exactly what you're talking about. Do you know the amperage of that atmospheric current?
That you don't know what I'm talking about. You think I'm talking about.
I do know exactly what I'm talking about.
That's why you interrupt me.
It's a Feynman
That's probably why you
lecture.
interrupt me. That's probably why you interrupt me.
Oh, are you
You don't know what I'm
cry?
talking about. You think I'm talking about the little Corona motor that's tied to a balloon with a string. I'm not talking about that though. So you're completely wrong.
That's not you're talking about the Feynman lecture about atmospheric electricity. The problem is that current
No, I'm not.
is 10 to the negative 12 amperes. You can't even light an LED bulb of that.
Come on, see, so you don't know what I'm talking about.
Right.
You must
So
be
you're
training to
not
do maintenance on the
citing
mainstream
Feynman
infrastructure.
lecture, right? Dude, I've seen you do this for so long.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not trying to
I'm
invent
citing the
anything,
Feynman
shouldn't you be a
lecture.
maintenance guy?
There's a generator that uses I forgot exactly what it's called. It's a certain type of wind, like ionic wind, and it creates electricity.
Radiometer?
It has nothing to do with what you just talked about. Nothing to do at all with that. So you thought you knew what I was going to talk about, and you were wrong.
Yeah, you're
you said
citing the Feynman lecture and you pivoted because I got you because I know
didn't pivot.
your game.
The guy was talking about we were talking about gas and if it could be affected by electricity, and I explained yes, there are little generators that run off of this, and it's called ionic wind, I believe.
Can we add that to the list of things that you're going to send me?
Well, why can't you Google stuff?
Well, I mean, you know how whenever I make a claim, I immediately post the evidence because I'm very
An
prepared
ionic
for
wind
this.
generator, also known as electrohydrodynamic thruster, is a device that generates airflow using only electricity that and high voltage electric fields.
Do we have a high voltage electric field on the Earth?
There's no
ionized winds, or is it ionic winds?
Do we have those winds?
Ionic winds refer to the flow of charged particles induced by electrostatic forces or emitted allegedly from celestial bodies. So it's a real phenomenon, ionic winds on the Earth, and there are generators that just utilize that, which is dope.
Hold on, you said that there's ionic winds on Earth.
Yes.
They're not.
Oh, can you read the citation again?
Sure. Ionic winds refer to the flow of charged particles induced by electrostatic forces or emitted from celestial bodies. So yeah,
there's gas emitted from celestial bodies now.
No. Induced by electrostatic forces or So it's on Earth. I mean, we
And
literally use
it requires high
okay,
voltage, right?
terrestrial ionic wind. On Earth, ionic wind is the airflow generated when a high voltage, typically thousands of volts, is applied to sharp electrodes. The intense electric field strips electrons from neutral air molecules, creating a corona discharge. These newly formed ions are violently repelled by one electrode and attracted by another. As they collide with neutral air molecules, they transfer from their momentum, creating a silent moving breeze without any moving mechanical parts. Applications: this technology is utilized in electrostatic air filters, specialized silent cooling fans for electronics, and even experimental ionic thrusters for aircraft wings designed to achieve no moving part flight.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing
And
to
we
do
have
with
that kind of
about other
electric
planets.
field around the Earth, and that causes a pressure gradient, right?
So do you see what you
Somehow.
do? Like you make claims, and then when debunked, you just move to the next claim, right? Like you
What
tried to
claim did
act
I
like
make?
you were
Hold on.
debunking me because it only happens on other planets and not on the Earth. So then I had to read all
No,
that, and then
what
instead of
claim did I make?
acknowledging it, you just immediately shifted to something else. And the other problem is that I'm trying to look up like 7 citations now, and then
Well, I
What
mean, if
claim
you
did I
have
make
all
them,
the
that you
people.
I have all my citations ready.
I don't really
That's on
care
you, not
though.
on
I don't
me.
care what you have.
But that's
we
on
know
you,
that.
not on
But
me. Like it's not my fault that you're not prepared.
No, the point is that all you guys
On your maintenance
do, right,
handbook.
is you sit there just desperately looking for you just say "nuh-uh" to everything that you haven't researched thoroughly, and then demand that instead of you going and researching it, I must go get all of it for you, or you can pretend it just isn't true. And yeah, in a formal
No, that's
debate,
not what's happening
stop
here.
interrupting me. Yeah, in a formal debate, you
Are you
support
going
your
to
points with
cry?
evidence. This isn't a formal debate. For one, in a formal debate, it isn't
Yeah, I know you're
7v1
scared to have
where
a
people
formal
do
debate
like
with
what
me.
he does right now, where he just speaks all through the middle of me because a moderator would stop him. It's also not 7 people tag teaming somebody, constantly
Uh-huh.
cutting off another sentence. Like, oh, well, let me catch him on another point. Okay,
Yeah,
this
I
isn't a
try
formal debate.
to have a
This isn't a formal debate. I don't work for
I try
you.
to
I don't
set
have
up
to
a
run
formal debate
around
with you and you
grabbing
run
you
away.
citations
I
every
super
single
chatted you.
time. You just say, nuh-uh.
No, that's not what happens because I super chatted you trying to set up an actual debate because I've been wanting to debate you for the longest time and you always run away from me.
No one's running away from you. You've shown a
Oh, so
total inability.
we're going to
Bro,
set up
you're
a formal
proving
debate?
why I don't debate you right now. You
You're
have
going
a
to set up a
total
formal
you
debate?
demonstrate a total inability to show basic restraint and to have
Mm-hmm.
any type of like decorum. So
Mm-hmm.
why would I, because what you are is just super thirsty for any type of clout or attention. So
Oh,
why
that's
would I, and what's
adorable.
even funnier is I definitely want to do anytime soon now. I haven't debated someone in so long. Like what, like of course you would want me to like go debate you as like my comeback debate. If you could show some any type of professionalism, right, or restraint, that would be different.
Mm-hmm.
But you openly admit that your intention and purpose is to disingenuously troll people, hoping to get a reaction out of them. And that
No,
is
that I
lame.
never citation, please. When did I admit that?
You,
Citation? What the
well, you
hell?
say it all the
Are you
time. You say that
serious?
you're trolling all the time.
Instead of saying that, we
No,
could
I never said
foster a
I
more
never
healthy environment. We
excuse
don't need
me.
to
I
attack him.
I
You
never
don't need to
said
I'm
defend
not
yourself,
attacking him. I'm
Max.
explaining why I
I
don't
never
want
said
to
that I
debate
troll.
him.
I have fun with stuff, but if we have a serious debate, I'll have a serious
Like,
debate.
why would he
Well, you
debate you?
say
He
that.
was just talking about gas pressure without a container, and you bring up plasma.
That wasn't
yeah,
me.
no, that's what Witsit brought in.
No, you
this
totally
could be some good.
misrepresented what I'm saying, though, right? Like you just, I did bring that up earlier, but I was just explaining that forces can affect the gradient, and just in general, we
Yes.
already know that we can have gas pressure gradients within physical containment. Duh, because in reality, you can't even have a gas pressure gradient without a physical container, because the necessary antecedent to gas pressure is physical containment, which I mean is literally in the freaking word pressure. It presses on the walls of a container. Gas
No.
No,
pressure
that's
is literally gas pressure is literally the energy or force exerted on the walls of a container, right? Of course, you need that physical containment to have a gas pressure gradient because that's delta X, a change in X, a change in gas pressure. You must have the X before you can have a change in it, right?
That is lovely.
that's
You
what I
know
was
that
asking for.
the pressure also would apply to the molecules pressing on each other.
Come on, bro.
The silence of concession. Thank you very much.
Wait, what? No, you didn't rebut anything I said.
Oh, I
The
did.
antecedent. Wait, can you have gas pressure without a physical container?
Yeah.
Give me an example.
The atmosphere.
Begging the question.
Hold on, Witsit. Wait,
Begging the
Witsit.
question.
When you ask that,
I love your lame rescue devices.
When you ask for the demonstration of gas pressure without a container, how can we show it to you?
You can't because it doesn't exist. It's literally
Okay, then show me the Earth. Show me the Earth as flat. Remember that we're on a globe.
Okay, we have physical empirical measurements of the surface consistently
that's
show us
on a
flat.
globe.
All plane
That's on a
survey
globe.
measurements, engineering utilizing plane survey measurements in order to actually build things like bridges and runways and railways. Like literally, you can't even exist in the world that you exist in without the utilization of a flat Earth.
Does Oakley know that
we're living on a globe, so you need a globe.
What are you talking about?
Does Oakley know that you're stealing his mantra?
Bro, if you
I've never
can't
heard
beat him
Oakley say
with
that in my
facts
entire
or
life.
logic, just don't do that.
Dude, I do
Basically,
both
what you
things.
guys
I have fun with
have
it,
to
and
say
I
is like,
also bring the
yes, we
evidence.
utilize the Earth as though it's flat for all practical purposes in the real world. But really, it's on a globe. Trust me, bro. And it's like, okay, cool, man.
It is
like,
just an American
we utilize
repackaging
the
of
Earth
Oakley.
as it. We utilize the Earth as it is a globe.
No. Actually, we measure
Yes, we actually do.
plane survey does not account for any alleged curvature.
Yes,
What is plane surveying?
Surveying a plane.
Why would you survey it if it's already flat?
Surveying that is done from a
Are you
plane, buddy.
stupid? Did you think that was a slam dunk? Why would you survey it if you already know it's flat? Is that your question?
No.
Yeah, you said that
you
plane surveying is done on a plane surface.
No,
Why would you
it's done
survey
from a
something that you
plane.
know is already flat?
Do you not know the answer to your own
Can't be
question?
serious. You can't be serious with that fucking question, dude.
I
Just
love
think
that you
about what
don't
asked.
understand
that's why I asked.
plane
What is plane
surveying
surveying?
is.
Now think a little harder.
Plane surveying, you know that it means that it's done on a plane, that the plane is doing the surveying, the aircraft.
That is incorrect, man.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's in the name of, it's in the
God.
definition of the word plane.
This is what I mean
It's
about you
plane.
trolling, dude.
Right.
Yeah,
Sure.
you said.
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
Earlier you
plane
said that there's no
surveying is
problem.
a technique used to measure and map features on the Earth's surface under the assumption that the Earth is perfectly flat.
Yes, it's assumption.
Okay, so when I said, yeah, it doesn't utilize any alleged curvature, and you said, no, you were wrong.
I didn't say no. Why are
Plane
you lying?
surveying
There's no reason to
is
lie.
a method of measuring and mapping features on Earth's surface. So when you're like, why would you have to survey it if you know it's flat? Do you know the answer now?
Yeah, it's assuming that it's flat.
Okay. So what's your point?
It's just an assumption.
Okay, and guess what? The physical empirical measurements verify
Okay, look, I was wrong. It's not from a plane. That was my bad.
Yeah, it's all good. Thanks.
Yeah, it's not plane. Oh.
Yeah,
It's
contrary to you,
commonly
I can
utilized
admit
for
when I'm
smalling
wrong.
mapping projects, such as those related to construction, archaeological sites, and infrastructure developments. The process involved using instruments like the plane table and theodolite to accurately determine distances and angles, ultimately creating a detailed and scaled map. What's even more interesting than that, right, is that we use it for up to like 100 square miles. And
10
whenever
square miles. Well, we'll see. 100
square miles,
100 square miles, which is 10 miles square.
I know what square means, buddy. And then when we're doing like larger projects than that, we actually just connect freaking plane surveys. Like we literally just connect them. We just do another one, then do another one. So it's like, yeah, literally the world that you exist in and the way that it's built is all utilizing flat Earth measurements. Literally, factually, objectively.
Use the dimensions of the globe to navigate. Obviously.
So you just deflated something else, talking about navigation where you have certain different methodologies that assume the Earth's a globe. Well, that's not what we were talking about. I said that like the entire world that you utilize, right? The physical built infrastructure of the world, runways, railroads, like everything, bro. Roads, bridges.
You know
that's not true.
You know that we
It is
have an
true.
example of this. Whenever you draw a circle in paint, the circle is not actually circular. It's made of smaller, like actual pixels, which are squares. So that doesn't make your point, right? Because you can treat a sphere as very small straight portion. And
that's
paint
what
demonstrates.
means.
Paint demonstrates that. I can demonstrate it with paint right now. I can draw a circle.
Oh my
which
God!
I
You
will
understand
do
what
in
concentric
just-
means, dude?
Yeah, ever heard of an analogy? So I can draw a circle in paint, and now I will take a screenshot of it, and I will post it to the
Like
chat.
I don't
and
really
this
miss a lot of this, right?
I
Be real.
mean,
This circle
diverted from-
is. Excuse me.
drawing
This
a vector
circle.
line anyway.
this circle is composed of many straight lines.
It's irrelevant. A circle
it's a
is
circle.
concentric. Go Google
But
the
you
word
can zoom
concentric.
in, and each individual pixel is a straight line. Huh.
Yeah, Google the word concentric. You're wasting time.
Isn't that
Your
interesting?
statement is meaningless.
Yeah, concentric has nothing to do with this.
Has nothing to do
sorry?
with a circle.
No, it has nothing to do with the like circle being a like made up
A
of
single
squares
circle.
or pixels on the screen. Yeah.
No, it's
No,
made
but
up of
Witsit was
points.
saying that if we
Equal
treat
distance
10
from the center
square
point.
miles as straight, and then
Yeah.
we do that for the next one over, that means that the Earth is flat. And I am giving a perfect analogy that no, because paint draws circles as very tiny segments of straight lines, and it's still a circle.
Okay, and now walk that process of logic out. Therefore, all circles are straight lines.
The silence of concession. Thank you
But
very
there's
much.
like we diverted from the gas pressure slightly because I mean if
Sorry,
we
because we
admit
went
that
into
forces
plane
can
surveying. I'll shut up.
Because that's what you guys are always doing, desperately looking for a gotcha because you get debunked back to back to back to back, and then we all just act like it didn't happen.
Yeah, you said that you debunked me when I didn't make a claim, but like how in when you said that forces can contain gas, what's the problem with
Didn't say
us?
that.
And you did say that. You said that forces can contain gas.
Within it, I specifically said still within physical containment.
Sure. Yeah. So there's no problem with us having gas pressure here, and then there being like 10 to the negative 10 outside of the Earth, because that's still gas pressure, and we have forces containing the gas on the Earth.
No,
Right.
no, dude, no. Again, just like you said, plasma is not gas pressure, right? And all I was explaining was that the forces are not containing it. It's simply like I invoked it to explain that it affects the gradient distribution. That's the 7th time I've said that. 7th time, easily,
Sure.
maybe
So
more than that. And the reason,
there's a gradient.
okay, for example, can you still man the actual argument about the issue with having gas pressure on the Earth adjacent to a near perfect vacuum? Can you still man the problem? Can you still man the argument?
I don't probably no, because there's no claim of no pressure anywhere. So there's just a gradient. So where's the problem?
Who said no pressure? When did I just say no pressure?
No, I didn't say that. I said that I don't see a problem with it because we don't.
But do you not know what still manning is?
Pressure next to pressure.
It isn't about what
I
you
know.
see a problem with.
Yes, I said that I don't see your problem.
No,
I
but can you
can't steal
still
money
man
because I
the-
don't see it.
Okay. So you're saying you fundamentally don't comprehend the argument you're claiming to debunk, and this is kind
I
of the
haven't.
problem.
I'm not claiming to debunk anything. I'm asking you what the issue is.
So you're saying after all this time, you don't even know the argument about what the issue is.
I know that flat earthers say that you can't have gas pressure next to no gas pressure without a container.
Okay. No, you can't have gas pressure adjacent to a near perfect vacuum of 10 to the negative 17 torr without physical containment. The second law of thermodynamics necessitates that entropy will increase, the amount of usable energy will decrease, and the gas pressure will fill the available space.
So if you have 14.7 psi next to 1 psi, would that also be a violation of the second law?
No, because once again, you have to have physical containment to have the gradient in the first place.
Hold on. 14.7 next to 1. Is that okay? Can we have that?
No, it wouldn't be next to it. No, it would fill the 1.
Okay. So when we actually have that in the gas pressure gradient that we are in, how can we have that with the second law?
Well, we have a physical container that's containing the gas pressure. And then what we have is gas is constantly being produced at the surface level, right? So they're constantly being produced. Wait, gas isn't being produced by the surface?
What's producing gas?
Wait, so you guys didn't know that?
No, it's
okay.
not
So
hold on. What is producing gas?
If I start to explain something and then you both just sit here like little children and impulsively interrupt me, desperately trying to get a gotcha, I'm just not going to do it.
Are you going to cry about it?
No, I'm just not going to do it. So
I'm
just giving you guys a heads up because we're not playing this game where you're pretending to want the answer, but really you're just desperately looking for a gotcha because I don't do this anymore. Like I don't miss that part of it at all. Okay. But I will give you your answer. So let's just talk about this like logically, right? So do we agree that gas is being produced at the surface level? Okay. So do trees and vegetation produce gas?
No.
Okay.
No, because
so
they cycle gas.
So anyone else?
Hold on. They take in CO2 and release O. So they bind more gas. They take the carbon out of the gas and release the oxygen. So they take in more gas than they produce.
So they release.
Okay, so it is being produced. Okay, so our animals.
No, they take in more than they release. So there's a net negative there.
So you're saying I'm saying it's being produced. You're saying no, and then you're saying, well, yes, but, and making an additional point that's unrelated, which is called a non
No, can you
sequitur.
produce something if you
Yes.
take
Yes.
more in than you release?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Just like my exports can be larger than my imports as a country. That doesn't mean I didn't export anything, right? My imports can be.
But there's no
Brother,
creation.
my input. Oh, no creation. No, what you're saying is that.
Yeah, if you take in more at the same
Oh my
time.
God, this is like I'm just losing brain cells, bro. Like I
That's
gave
just
one
ridiculous.
example of something, which was the plants. I expected us to not be children, right? And just say, of course. When he said it wasn't being produced, I just gave a quick example to show how ridiculous his claim was. Because then I was going to continue to explain that there are multiple things that are going on at the surface level,
Well,
right?
if you
I don't
produce,
need you
are
to start
you?
frantically trying to explain that you think that plant that there's
Yeah,
not a
we don't
net
need to go to the
output.
specific.
But
Yeah,
it's not
just
even
keep
true
vague.
though. Plants produce way more oxygen than they take in, way more gas than they take in.
That is false.
At least that's what mainstream says. I just googled it. I don't know.
That is just
So wait,
false.
even
what you're
still,
saying is
How can you?
if
They
I stuck a
produce
plant in a sealed
oxygen.
glass container, it would create a vacuum. Is that what you're assuming? Insinuating, Moleman?
No. The pressure would probably be close to the same, so it doesn't produce anything.
So then your
Yeah,
point was
because
just
it's not a
fucking null.
production; it's a cycle. It cycles.
Yeah, it's a cycle.
That was my
Yeah,
whole
it doesn't-
point, right? That's the whole point. He's trying to
Yeah,
act
so they
like
don't
there's some
produce
big.
anything.
He's acting like there's some big gotcha. No, I said that there's surface level. There's gas being produced at the surface level, and then you guys tried to dispute that. And then I had to start talking about just one example. So I'll just Google it for you because apparently that's the only time you guys listen. Once you hear me read Google, then it's becoming true now, right? So yes, many gases are produced, released, and constantly cycling right at the Earth's surface level. Wait, so
You know what
are
they
we
call
now? You guys are going to
phytoplankton.
pretend you knew the whole time that gas was being produced at the surface level? Is that what's going to happen?
No, I still hold that it's not being produced. That it takes in CO2 and breaks the molecule up.
Oxygen.
Yeah, but
and
now
releases
you're
oxygen.
ignoring
So it's not
entropy,
produced.
dude.
It's just a transformation.
You're just gonna
Do
go
you think
down
that
the route
water
of
is
fucking
produced?
over
That is a
unity.
perfect
That's where
analogue.
you're gonna
The water
end up.
cycle.
Like
it's not
if
produced.
it doesn't,
It's just the water
if it doesn't output
cycles
what it
through state.
inputs, therefore it's not
So does the
outputting
gas.
anything.
So wait, is it? Let me ask you a
It's
question.
dumb, dude. Dumb beyond.
Let me ask you a question. Is the plant producing oxygen? Yes or no?
No, it's not producing.
Not producing.
So is it taking in oxygen and throwing out oxygen?
No, it's
Or is it
taking
taking
in
in
carbon dioxide.
CO2 and light, converting it to glucose, and then and creating oxygen?
It's
No,
not
it's not
creating. It's cycling it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
it's
let's try something
hold on.
simple.
So
Let's
is
try.
CO2
Let's try.
is CO2 is CO2 oxygen?
No.
It's gas.
That's right, but it's not
Yeah,
oxygen.
this is what's so
It
annoying, right? It's
off-gasses.
like
They don't want to admit it, but it off gases. They're getting hung up on pedantic words right now instead of
and
just focusing on the point that Witsit's making.
correct. And the reason is
So when
because
I-
because they're trying to act like there's some contradiction here when we say that gas pressure requires a container, and then they're saying like, oh, really? Then how could the 14.7 be on the surface whenever there's less at the top of Mount Everest? How wouldn't that fill the available space? And then when I go to actually answer how ridiculous that is and the actual processes that occur on Earth to explain why we have a gradient, they start frantically freaking out, looking for any pedantic or semantic obfuscation or to try to act like they're disputing it because they're all just afraid of us actually getting to that conclusion.
You don't have to gaslight every time.
No one's gaslighting anybody.
I mean, we can
You're
gaslight
not
too.
scary
but
at all with it.
So here's the deal,
If
man.
anything, you
Tons
are
of gas-
scared of me.
I'm gonna try to explain it when you're acting like you guys still don't understand this after years. Okay, so there's lots of gas being produced
You
at the
gaslight.
surface level, and it's cycling out all the time, right? Also, gas is like being forced down, right?
Why?
And I'm about to explain it. So you guys would love to try to claim that if there's some magical force that's not a force and bending magical concepts or whatever called gravity, but that's not actually what it is. We have an electrical gradient on the Earth, right? And also the ocean and like the soil, the Earth itself absorbs gases, which is well known. It's just a fact. They absorb huge amounts of carbon dioxide and oxygen directly from the air, the ocean, and the ground. Okay, then you have all the plant consumption of gases and the cycling and the production. If you want to be pedantic about it, I couldn't care less. Then you also have, of course, the animals, the organisms. So you have this complex system that's constantly cycling gases, keeping most of them there at the surface, just cycling in and out, right? And you also have gases being absorbed by the ocean and the ground. and you have an electrical gradient going down towards the Earth with a small electrical current down towards the Earth, but that would just create a bias, and it helps facilitate and so basically sort everything out, right? So we would expect to see a more dense portion of the atmosphere at the surface. But in order to have a gradient, to have a gas pressure gradient, you would have to have gas pressure first. Gradient is just a change in the gas pressure. So it doesn't in any way rebut the argument. And that's like 2015 stuff.
What's the problem with the contained universe having gas pressure everywhere?
Okay, because if your model was true, and I asked you to still man this to save us time, you said you couldn't. It's insane, right? If there was a globe Earth with gas pressure, the way that they claim, and then it was within this ever expanding universe with a vacuum of 10 to the negative 17 torr, right? You would have the gas pressure on Earth adjacent to a near perfect vacuum of 10 to the negative 17 torr. It would fill the available space. So the universe
Why
is so
doesn't it fill it
vast.
now?
It's contained.
It's not.
No, but why doesn't the 14.7 down here go to what's like 100 kilometers in altitude? Why doesn't it rush there?
Dude, I just explained it.
Yeah, except the problem is
why doesn't that work on a globe?
Because the gas pressure wouldn't be contained.
No, it would, because if the universe is contained, then every gas molecule is contained inside the universe. Like, I don't see the problem.
The universe isn't contained. The universe is expanding in your model.
Yeah, and even if it wasn't,
agree
you
with
still
gas
have a
pressure.
perfect vacuum.
I don't agree with what this guy says. But that being
You're
said,
just moving
let
the
me tell you
container
this.
at that point.
There are inert
And then
gases
saying
in the
there's no
atmosphere,
container.
and those gases, when they experience an electric current, they shine. That's how we get neon too.
Yeah.
So
it's essentially
idea
contained
that
because
it's
it has to be. Is that right?
And gases don't automatically shine when there's an
on.
electric current. There's a
It's contained because it has to be,
I
right?
was talking about the inert gases in the atmosphere. If what's holding them down
Wait, the other guy
would
asked a
be the
question.
electric current, then don't the inert gases in
Settle
the
down,
atmosphere shine?
MxXD.
Like argon,
You're just
neon.
He's fine.
disputing. You're
I
disputing
interrupted.
facts.
Annoying.
The other guy asked a question. You're just disputing like facts that there's a measurable downward electric current on the Earth. And like, sounds good, man. You got that.
See, I
But,
was
like,
always
the other
telling
guy
you.
asked,
No, I'm not disputing that. I'm granting you that. I'm telling you, number one, that current is 10 to the negative 12 amperes. You can't even light an LED with that. And the other argument is that there are inert gases that shine, that glow when they are electrified, and that doesn't happen. I'm wondering why.
first of all, the little bitty amount that you're saying is based on how many square meters?
I'm using the same citation you are, the Feynman
But time out. You're acting like you know so much about it. So, okay, you just act like it's just so small for how many square
That's
meters?
what the citation, it says. Hold on, I'll double check.
All right,
He wants you to do math, Max.
Boom.
And it's just not a good, it's just a retarded argument, acting like the downward electric current is
Yeah,
so
your argument is
insignificant because
retarded.
you
I
isolate
agree.
a small, tiny portion of it and then say, look, it wasn't even like this. Well, what about for the entire Earth? Like, come on,
For
man.
the entire, yeah, the problem is, how does 10,000 kilometers away from me affect down here? That's why they do it per square mile or per square kilometer.
What is per square meter?
Yeah, whatever. Hold on.
Well, those are
I think
different,
it's
brother.
weird that there's like a problem with the 14.7 next to 4. There's no problem with that, but there's a problem with 4 next to 0.0001.
Okay, let's use a super simple explanation.
It says 10 to the negative 12 amps per meter squared.
I just said that.
Right. So
Okay.
if I am standing in a square meter, how does the square meter 10,000 kilometers apart affect me here?
Go ahead. Okay, you tried to bring up the amount as though it was so small it was inconsequential and negligible, but that's stupid. We're talking about the entire Earth and the downward bias that comes from it, right? So it's
My
just like a very
question
stupid
stands
point.
again. How
But
does 10,000
wait up,
kilometers
wait up.
away
I
from
want
me affect the square meter that I'm standing on?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what that means.
Well, I don't even know what you're talking
You
about.
can't use the overall amperage of the whole Earth as a whole, because unless you can give me a mechanism of how me standing in this cubic meter, in this square meter, how does something 10,000 kilometers apart affect me here? How does a current
Why would
that
I
is
need it? Wait,
10,000 kilometers
what are you
away?
talking about though? Like when did
You're
what
not
are
keeping
you
up. That's
expecting me to
adorable.
claim? Buddy, what are you expecting me to explain here? 10,000 meters. What are you talking about? All I'm
10,000
addressing is
kilometers.
there's a downward electric current on the Earth. It's very simple. It's just factual. And
Yes,
you're
we
not
agree.
actually ready. for the full answer
there are
of how
10,
it
there are
works within an etheric
current,
framework, you're
that
spiraling
current.
right now. You're spiraling within this little materialistic
No,
conversation. You would go
you are spiraling
crazy.
right now.
Max,
So
please
let
stop
me.
cutting
Brother,
him off, bro.
I'm going to
Look,
ask
brother,
again. I'm
you
going to ask
gotta
the question
stop.
again.
you may not be tall enough to ride this ride, Max. Okay,
You gotta,
just
yeah. I
let it
mean,
go.
dude, there's
Yeah, that is
downward
not what's
cosmic
happening here.
energy from the heavens as well. You have to get into the
Oh,
actual background medium of the ether and what it
do you
is
have
and
any
what is
evidence of
everything
this?
else. The electrical current itself is a modality from that. Obviously, there's primary
Hold his head
primary
down into the
mover, primary
pillow,
motion, and then you have energy that's
ram
radiating
his
from the sky, which is
distance
of course
right
measured
up
all the
his
time, and your
arsehole,
paradigm talks
forcibly
about it
rammed
all the
up him,
time as well.
raped by me,
It's
raped,
coming
raped,
from
And
because
where
you'll have
does
them
space in
rammed
your
back
cosmic
up
energy
you.
paradigm.
stop?
It will be
And
Does it stop at
forcibly
the van Allen
rammed
belt?
up you.
listen, man. There
Forced
just seems
into
to
a
be like
pillow,
a downward
fisted up
pressure
them,
coming down to the
fisted
surface of
rape,
the earth from
raped, you're being
above us,
pinned down
right? And
and
even your
fist
paradigm
fucked,
acknowledges
being
that.
fisted.
But
I
the
could
other
force your
guy
head
asked
into
a
that
question about
and
the
ram
actual.
it up
Yes, it
you.
does. Cosmic energy,
25
cosmic
different men,
rays. Come on, man.
25 different
The
Yeah, where
other
times.
do they
guy
stop?
asked some energy. The other guy, it comes all the way to the earth. The other guy asked
No,
the question.
they stop at the van Allen belt.
Oh my God! You say no and say things that are patently wrong in your own paradigm, and then you find out you're wrong, and then you just do it again. So go look it up. So the other guy asked a question about the topic we were actually talking about, though, right? So let's just use a simple analogy. If we're in like a lab, right, we had a container. Do you agree that if we have like a container in a lab, we can have a gradient?
Hold his head down into the pillow and then ram his distance right up his
if I
arsehole,
take the
forcibly
top
rammed
off
up
of
him,
that
raped by
container
me,
and
raped,
it's
raped,
inside of a
because you'll have
giant
them
vacuum
rammed back
chamber,
up you.
what's
It
going to
will
happen
be
to the gas that
forcibly
was inside the little
rammed up
container?
you, forced into a pillow, fisted up them, fisted rape,
So you should
raped,
be able
you're
to
being
answer all your own
pinned
questions
down
now.
and fist
Yeah, if I have
fucked,
14.7
being
psi
fisted.
in
I
the
could force your
container
head
and
into.
let's say 10 outside of the container, and I open the container, the gas will escape, and that doesn't happen in the atmosphere.
Most people don't know this, but there's always a constant 377 ohms in that vacuum chamber that can never be removed.
It's true, yeah. Impedance of free space.
But yeah, if I have 14.7 next to 10, the 14.7 will escape. And in the atmosphere, we have 14.7
so
and we have 10
is
without a
there a
barrier.
gradient inside of the container?
Yes.
Okay, so why doesn't the more dense gas, quote unquote, escape to the less dense portion
In where in the lab?
in the container?
Because of gravity, obviously.
Okay, so
gravity, obviously.
we're back to you believe in gravity. In fact, it's just that things intrinsically have weight. There's a downward electric bias.
Gravity of the gaps fallacy.
Yeah, I mean, then we have to get into what exactly is weight, and like we go down all these rabbit
And
holes.
you're running from your claim.
No one's
Okay.
No one's running from anything. Okay, gravity really just comes from the word gravitas, which means heavy. So it means heaviness or weight.
But I wasn't talking about why we have it.
Weight equals mg. Yeah, you are when you talk about gravity. Weight
No, I'm
equals
not.
mg. Weight equals
You brought it up.
mg, which is just mass times little g gravity, which is simply downward acceleration. It isn't actually like the force or causal claim of gravity. It's just the quantification of the fact that things have an acceleration when they go down. No, little g is not the force of gravity, even in your own paradigm.
Gravity's not a force.
On Earth, it is.
Why doesn't anything fall up?
No, it's not. Big G is the supposed causal mechanism, and it's not even a force, according to your paradigm. Little g is just us quantifying how fast something falls, which is roughly 9.8 meters per second squared. Little g is the effect. Big G is the cause. Okay. Little g could be replaced with A, just acceleration in your own paradigm. So literally, if you write it out and you do the math, right, that little g is going to be 9.8 meters per second squared. It's not going to be a force. Okay, so we have mg. So we have the fact that things fall at a certain rate, g. So no big deal. Just replace it with the a, doesn't matter. And then mass. And like, so what is mass, right?
Yeah.
And if we look.
Well, I mean, we have an explanation for it. Like we have an explanation. We have a mechanism and a model that works, right? So we go with that.
Okay.
Until
Oh
there's
my
an
god. I know.
alternative
First,
model.
I know one's running from anything, right? Do you know what mass?
I didn't say you were
mass
running.
is, though.
I didn't say you were
No, the
running.
other guy did.
No, I said he's running because I was asking why can we have 14.7 next to 4 in the atmosphere with no container?
What?
And in
No,
the
you
lab,
just didn't follow how I had you debunk yourself by bringing up how there was actually a gradient in the container according to your own admission, and I can just apply your same question back to you. Well, why didn't the more dense fill the less dense part of the container that has the gradient that you conceded to? And then you invoked gravity. So then I'm trying to explain to you, right? How
you ran. I asked you a question and you didn't answer
You
the
went to
question.
gravity of the gaps fallacy.
You brought up gravity, and so this is the
Just made
point.
up.
This is the point. This is actually super
he's
important
running
though,
now.
because no, I'm not running for anything. Just you saying it, trying to bait
Yes,
me.
you are.
Weight equals m
You're
times
trolling,
g.
dude. You know you're
Weight
getting
equals
wrecked.
m times g. G is just the effect.
He's
Downward
not even
acceleration.
answering the
It's just
question I asked.
quantified. Hey man, chill out, man. Mass
Blah blah
equals.
blah. All you just say is just stupid shit, dude.
No,
Shut
but
up.
guys, this is super. This is like super important because it's like the whole thing, right? Mass equals density times volume, right? So volume, we all know what that is. So basically, it's just the compactness of matter, right? That's what mass is. Like how much matter is compacted into a certain amount of space. That's all it is. So then it's like, okay, density. What is density? Compactness of matter. And then if you wanted to figure out what's the cause, which is what you guys are trying to set, you don't even realize that's what you're doing, but you're invoking a causal claim and then conflating big G and little g. But we're going to actually look for the causal mechanism, right? Hey, stop, man. We're going to actually, no, the guy just did it. No one's gaslighting anyone. He literally just did that. He just argued with you directly, claiming that little g was a force. So if we look into density,
never said that.
The other guy did, though.
The cause is mass attracting
No one
mass.
said it.
You're conflating what I was saying.
He literally did.
The cause
So
is
anyway,
mass attracting mass.
dude. Oh my god. Okay, do you want to bet $1,000?
That's the cause.
Do you want to bet $1,000 that someone did say it?
Oh,
that he
please,
said that
can we
No,
never,
I
can
think
we
you're
not
talking
do
about
this?
me.
Can we not
Because you're
do
saying
this?
I'm the other guy. I
Yeah,
did
but
say
he's
that
just
little
claiming
g
that
was
nobody said it,
the
even
force
though
of
you know
gravity
you
at
said
sea
it.
level.
Hey guys,
said
I
it
was
was the
almost
force of-
done. Why do we do this? Can you chill?
Bro, you called me out. So I said
we're
I'm the
almost done.
guy
Wait.
that set up the force of gravity at sea level. So go ahead.
Whatever, man. Okay. Weight equals mg. Okay. Very simple. G, just downward acceleration, is just the effect. A lot of globers, they think that that's like the force of gravity. It's not just the effect. It's not even a causal claim at all. Okay. And my point I was making is like, but that shows you what are we looking for here with all of our questioning and our reasoning? Well, what's the fundamental cause, right? Okay. So mass equals density times volume. Density is the compactness of matter. So then if we're looking for the true primary cause of the phenomena of weight, then we need to know, well, what's the cause of the compactness of matter? Which means what is it that's holding the matter together to give it a certain compactness?
No, we don't need to know that.
All molecular and intermolecular attractive forces in nature are electrostatic forces. So
we don't need to know that. We can just measure based on what we know.
I'm almost done. The primary cause, like the primary causal mechanism of the phenomenon of weight, literally is the electrostatic charge that is holding the matter together.
Well, they'd call
Literally.
it the van der Waal interactions, which is similar, actually the same thing as the Casimir effect, which is 0-point energy, which is related to magnetism.
What you guys are doing is basically saying we need to know the cause of the Big Bang to know that the universe is expanding. That's what you're doing right now with gravity. We don't need to know what. Hold on a second. We don't need to know what holds the matter and creates the volume, which is the mass of the matter. We can just look at the mass. We can measure the mass. And we can attribute it to something else that we can measure based on where we're at at sea level or at other places throughout the solar system, right? Like we can literally do descriptions, not prescriptions.
This goes right
We don't
back
need
to
a
what
prescription.
this goes right back to what the other guy brought up that started this whole conversation, which was he pointed out how he's new to flat Earth, but how he's new to flat Earth, but he realizes that so many of these globers fail to understand the difference.
Listen, don't
math.
open pup when you interrupt me, right? I wasn't done, but I'll let you go. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You were done.
Hey,
How they fail to understand the difference in math and science, and how math's like a language and it describes, and then science actually explains how things work, right? And they're not the same thing. And you're saying, well, we don't need to talk about actual science and how things actually work and what actually causes them and explain it. All we need is our descriptions mathematically. And then you turn around and you make causal claims at the end of it. So those aren't the same thing. Mathematical descriptions don't mean anything, and they don't in any way give you a
What was the
truth
causal
value.
thing I said? Go ahead. What was the causal thing I said?
Well, the actual context of the conversation, you either were inputting with the conversation or you weren't, but the context was actually the causal mechanism for gravity. Yeah, like in someone saying it was a force in terms of the actual phenomena of gradient.
Yeah, we can take the mass and we can measure the force that it has, right? We can drop a toy race car in 6th grade science class. We can see that.
But do you not get the point that I was explaining? You not get it? Like the point I'm explaining is that when you guys say gravity and then I explain you're just talking about weight, and that weight's just mg, and you guys think that little g is like this force that's pulling the gas down. That isn't correct.
No one's
Little
saying
g
that.
is
He
just
thinks
downward
that we
acceleration.
deny the toy car falling in the classroom.
Wait a second.
Experiment.
That's actually a
That's
positive
funny.
claim. So what is your alternative? Go ahead.
I just explained it. I explained what it actually
Well, you said
is
it's incorrect.
factually.
You said it's electrostatics, right? Like you have
Well, I
something
just explained
quantifiable.
facts. Yeah, I just explained
How
facts,
does-
right? Like,
But if
You
it's
said
the
it isn't correct that it's gravity. So what is it?
that's right. I'm saying it's just a misnomer amongst a lot of people that don't fully understand their beliefs that little g is the actual cause, right? Like the force of gravity. Little g is just downward acceleration. It's the effect. Inside your own paradigm, it is just the effect of gravity. Okay.
Mass attracts mass. That's
Okay,
the
but that's not
cause.
little g, that's big G. Okay. And mass attracts mass isn't actually the claim of your paradigm anymore. That's been long outdated, right? Like gravity is not believed to be a force. It's believed to be the effect of the bending and warping of space-time, right? So
Yeah, but guess what?
which is
It
also
doesn't
stupid.
matter because mass bends and warps space-time based on its like literal amount of matter. Okay, so it
No,
does
that's
fucking
just a
work.
belief that doesn't make
No, it
any
doesn't.
sense.
Yeah,
It doesn't
you
work.
can't warp
Well,
something. That's not a
Okay,
thing.
okay. Tell me what bends space-time then. Go ahead.
There is no space-time. Concepts don't bend.
Oh, and
Yeah.
wait a second.
Space
In
is
our
space is
paradigm,
a
there's not
privation. It's
space-time and
not a
relativity.
thing.
Oh, in your
Space has no
paradigm.
properties.
Well, what bends it?
Can't bend something that has no properties.
What
Exactly.
determines
Like
the
you
magnitude of the bending?
But do you not get
It's
what you're
just
doing?
lost,
Like
bro.
you're asking me about your
I'm
paradigm,
asking you a
and
question.
then you're
Yes, I'm just
asking me
asking
to
you
you're asking me
what
to place
determines.
within your paradigm that we're falsifying, dude. It's so ridiculous. Like, and one of
Were
the
you not
easiest
doing an
ways to
internal
understand.
critique? Hold on, or are
You've
you?
got to
Why are
chill
you
out,
doing
man.
this? Why are you doing this dance?
You're
Stay
spiraling.
within the internal critique. Wait a second.
ICSpin is
Wait a second.
ICSpin, bro. Chill out.
Wait a second. Just wait a second. Stay within the internal critique, right? What determines the magnitude of the space-time, the amount of space-time in
What?
our
That's
paradigm?
an incoherent question. The amount of space time?
Yeah. What determines the amount of bending of space-time? Right.
There you go.
You're merging two things together that are both not things of themselves. Space is
Yeah,
insane.
I wasn't talking to you
he's
guys.
saying an internal critique. He's saying an internal critique, and like,
That's
yeah,
what
of
you
course
were
it's
doing,
mass,
and then you
but
switched out of it.
no, I didn't switch up. But this is the thing about it, right? It's so easily debunked within your own paradigm, which is why so many people are proposing alternatives like Newtonian or modified Newtonian dynamics, right? Because if it actually was that, right, like the amount of curvature in the bending, which they're claiming is the phenomena referred to as gravity, it's based on the amount of mass. So very simple terms, right? Both Newtonian and Einsteinian, the concept of gravity always has been based on proportionate mass. That the gravity is proportionate to the amount of mass. That is thoroughly disproven and debunked to this point, right? When we make any
Wait a second. You said
observations,
right.
yeah, you understand. I'm saying,
how is it
correct?
possible
You
that
understand that?
relativity debunks itself? That's what you're saying right now.
No, I'm not. What I'm saying is the belief that the phenomena referred to as gravity is based on proportionate mass has been thoroughly disproven in your own paradigm. And this has been done many ways. But if you just look at like celestial observations, for example, we consistently see that the force that's present that you guys are claiming acts like a force, you can treat it like a force, but it's actually not a force or whatever. It isn't proportionate to mass, which is why you guys have had to claim at this point that 87% of all of the matter, i.e., mass, in the entire universe is actually dark matter. That
I think
we
they
don't
say
know
it's
what
up to
it is. We can't
97.
find it. We can't see it. Whatever.
That's
Well,
fantastic.
so it's
but all
like
the matter that we're
it's like
aware of
dark
in the
matter
solar
and dark
system,
energy.
yeah,
Dark
it
matter and
abides
dark
by the
energy
laws that we.
together. Well, let me just correct that with the percentage comment, right? Like dark matter and dark energy together make up like 96.5% of the whole universe. And then when it comes to the matter of the universe, they claim 87% of the matter is dark matter, right? Which shows you that it, like the amount of quote unquote gravity that would have to be present and exist to explain the phenomenon we see in the sky, it requires so much more matter than is actually there if it was actually proportionate mass. It just simply isn't true. It isn't viable.
Yeah,
Well, hey, check this out. You know what is viable? Some type of
How long are
causal
you gonna talk?
explanation that isn't. I'm almost done. Let's check this out. Something that isn't limited to proportionate mass would easily explain it. Something like magnetism, where I can have two magnets that are exactly the same size, and one magnet can be 1,000 times stronger than the other one because it doesn't matter about the size or the amount of mass, right? It's based on the coherency. And so that would accurately explain galaxies, galaxy
Doesn't explain the
clusters,
weight on Earth.
proportionate to mass, which is why you guys have had to claim at this point that 87% of all of the matter, i.e., mass, in the entire universe is actually dark matter.
I
That
think
we
they
don't
say
know
it's up
what
to
it is. We can't
97.
find it. We can't see it. Whatever.
That's
Well, so
fantastic.
it's
But all
like
the matter that we're aware of in
dark
the
matter
solar
and dark
system,
energy.
yeah,
Dark
it
matter and
abides
dark
by the
energy
laws that we.
together. Well, let me just correct that with the percentage comment, right? Like dark matter and dark energy together make up like 96.5% of the whole universe. And then when it comes to the matter of the universe, they claim 87% of the matter is dark matter, right? Which shows you that it, like the amount of quote unquote gravity that would have to be present and exist to explain the phenomena we see in the sky, it requires so much more matter than is actually there if it was actually proportionate mass. It just simply isn't true. It isn't viable.
Yeah,
But hey, check this out. You know what is viable? Some type of
How long are
causal
you gonna talk?
explanation that isn't. I'm almost done. Let's check this out. Something that isn't limited to proportionate mass would easily explain it. Something like magnetism, where I can have two magnets that are exactly the same size, and one magnet can be 1,000 times stronger than the other one because it doesn't matter about the size or the amount of mass, right? It's based on the coherency. And so that would accurately explain galaxies, galaxy
Doesn't explain the
clusters.
weight on Earth.
That's fantastic.
Well, that's
but
the point. You guys have been brainwashed into believing that things falling on Earth, weight on Earth, is synonymous with the cause of things moving in the
Explain to me
sky,
one
which is
thing,
just
Witsit.
which is just a huge assumption. You
You've
have
talked for
no
11
reason
years,
to believe
okay?
that.
Just do me one favor. Explain to me how we can predict a solar eclipse 100 years in the future to the hour, maybe even to the minute.
Why would we not be able to
Just
do
the
that?
location.
Using the heliocentric model. Explain to me how
Yeah,
we can
use
do
it.
that.
What? Because we just made
No, you use the
observations in a
Saros cycle.
cyclical. Yeah, we
Oh,
just
using
made
the
observations.
serocycle.
Humans
We
been
can
doing that
predict
for
the path of
thousands of years,
totality.
buddy.
The
They've been
path
doing
of
that
totality,
for thousands
buddy.
and thousands of years.
Is that right,
Oh, you're
Dieslow?
freaking-
Okay, go ahead and go get your
Yeah.
flat Earth measurements for the path of
It's just
totality 100 years
cyclical.
in the future.
It's just cyclical. Yeah, it's
Is it because we
cyclical.
might have a good understanding of gravity?
He's just went through a non sequitur now.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
You think
appreciate
that we have to have a
But
good
I would
understanding of
actually like
gravity to predict
a question answered.
eclipses? Come out. Do you actually think that we need a good understanding of gravity to predict eclipses?
Yes, I do.
Well, you're
to predict
incorrect.
to predict the path of totality. Okay, tell me how I'm incorrect. Go ahead.
No. Tell me. Actually, make your claim.
Oh, we can predict the path of totality 100 years in the future using the heliocentric model.
You said it requires a good understanding of gravity to do that. Go ahead and explain how that's the case.
That's correct because we have to understand how orbits work, right?
No,
we don't. Okay, well, go ahead. Now you have the burden.
Okay. It's just the kinematic observation. It's cyclical. We don't actually have to have an understanding of the causal mechanism. This should be obvious since, again, you guys use Einstein. You don't even use, you use Newtonian equations. You don't even use Einsteinian equations for this.
Because we don't need
talking about the flat Earth.
By the way, we don't need to. Yeah.
Oh,
What does the
dude's
flat Earth
freaking
predict?
out. So wait. So your claim is untrue when you claim that in order to predict the eclipses in the future, we have to have a really good understanding of gravity. You don't at all.
I didn't say a really good understanding. By the way, you added really. I said good understanding.
Yeah.
But we don't. We don't need a good understanding.
Wait, hold on. Did I say really or did I say good? You just said
Why
good,
would
right?
we need? Why I asked you specifically why we need a good understanding of gravity. Why?
Because
Okay. Why do we
orbits.
need the? Okay. Why do we need a dynamic claim of the orbits to predict an eclipse?
Why do we need a dynamic claim to predict an eclipse? Right.
Yeah.
The answer is because we understand the three body problem more than you give us credit for.
Oh my God, what? So you have some little point you think you're going to make? That's totally irrelevant. You don't
Then tell me how the flat Earth predicts it.
Oh, you're freaking out. You don't need dynamics.
Oh, I'm freaking out.
To predict. You don't need
freaking out
dynamics
because you don't have an answer to my question, bruh.
No, I'm literally totally.
Well, you shouldn't have told him he's
and
freaking
you're
out. Just
freaking
stop
out.
yourself from saying that. Can Witsit continue?
You don't need dynamics.
It would be nice if he wouldn't say I'm freaking out. Go ahead, Witsit. Explain yourself.
Well, he acknowledged it. He was continuing. Please continue.
You don't.
Witsit.
You don't need dynamics to predict eclipses. It's kinematics, right? And we just make like inclination and ascension angle measurements and stuff like this. And we've just gotten more precise with the actual measurements of the moon and stuff. And we also know that you have to wait until a few weeks out for it to get really accurate. And it continues to be like polished and refined all the way leading up to the actual eclipse. So when you pretend that you can predict it 100 years in advance and it's like exactly accurate, that isn't true, right? Like it actually gets more and more accurate as it gets closer to the time of the eclipse. And we can't know exactly what it's going to be until it's about to be that time, because we have to
know
make
the path of totality,
specific angle measurements to the moon typically, which varies. So
we know the path of totality, though.
You said that it's a cycle.
You have a general idea of what you think the path of totality is going to be, and then it moves around as you actually approach the eclipse. Factual.
By how much?
Well, a few miles here and there.
Few miles.
You said that it's a cycle, but is the path of totality a cycle?
Wait, I don't get.
It's based on a cycle, yes.
I feel like all the globers speaking have the wrong
path
questions.
Is also a cycle.
Well, the globe has a map to predict these paths of totalities. The FE doesn't have a map, and any maps we've seen, those concepts don't actually work when accounting for the distances of the map.
You can just basically draw your circles and spirals on a flat Earth map, and then see when your sun and your moon are going to basically line up. And
yeah, those are words.
Eclipso.
Great contribution.
No, you just translate. You just translate the positions onto like the GP.
Just
spiraling GPs on a flat map, man.
Bro, just measure it using a flat Earth. No, it's not projections. No, it's not projections.
How can you get?
Show us a flat Earth prediction.
No, it's literally maps are projections.
Oh, you're right. I'll agree with that.
Shane and Alan have already done this. In fact, I think Mordwan gave Shane $10,000 for making a prediction.
So he literally lost the. He lost the bet. He said he couldn't predict the eclipse without using the globe, and he did it and had to pay him thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's too bad, huh?